All the talk of the 2023 AFL draft has been about the superstar from Tongala, Harley Reid.
Harley Reid. He's clearly the best player in this draft. The hype around him is real, it's justified.
We know he's going to be a star. He is the marquee guy. He's the next Justin Martin.
Harley's generational.
He looks like a jet. But there's also an exciting new dawn breaking on the Gold Coast. Triple Premiership coach Damien Hardwick has freshened up and likes the look of the list.
80% of our first premiership side is sitting in this room right now. The fact of the matter is this side and this club are very capable of saluting in the not-too-distant future.
So I've come here. No, not my Lions Den. The Palm Beach Crumman Footy Club on the Goldie.
Graham.
That is awesome play.
They got across the face, but can Walter take the grab?
Walter the Wonder.
The home of 4 talented local kids.
Rogers.
Reid going back with a flight, plucks it.
All homegrown talent. Products of the Suns Academy.
They came on from an early age. They were always standouts.
We're very proud to see their achievements and where they're going to go.
Could they be joining Dimmer on his search for greatness?
We've always been together the whole way, so it's pretty cool.
Really exciting times for Gold Coast footy.
Don't know what's in the water down here.
Mark my words, the Suns are rising, and this could be the start of something big.
The wait is over for the hottest young talent in Australia. Tonight we reveal the first round of the 2023 National Draft. Harley Reid, the country kid who looks destined for big things, is the standout in this draft pool. Will he be West Coast's first selection at pick number 1? Nervous family and friends are watching here in Melbourne at Marvel Stadium and right around the country on Fox Footy. Tonight will shape premiership lists for the next decade and looms as one of the most unpredictable drafts we have ever seen. Hello and welcome. Great to have your company. It's great to have our draft gurus in the house here at Fox Footy. Former St Kilda superstar Joey Montagna, our draft expert Mick Abler, and here for a 38th national draft, the godfather of the draft, Kevin Shifter-Sheehan. It is such a big night, an exciting night for these young men whose dreams will come true over the next couple of hours. But Joey, this is where premierships are built, isn't it? This is where the lists are made.
Yeah, it is, Jones. It feels like it's been a long build-up to tonight, but it is. It's all about hope and it's all about opportunity for not only the players and the young men that are hoping to get their names called out tonight, but for clubs and supporters to see if they can find their next superstar that'll help them win the premiership.
Yeah, I've never seen a draft like this. The hype around the number 1 pick has just been absolutely remarkable and unseen in my time. And I think duly warranted too. I think this group of players gives you a great positional depth, whether it's the tall defender, tall forward, the mids and the like. I think there's plenty on offer for just about every club that'll feature in tonight's first round.
I agree with that. Look, what an exciting night it is, and up to 30 players. They're going to realise their dreams as you talk about there, Sarah. They're going to become household names in the AFL world from tonight, and that's very, very special.
Well, Harley Reid is already a household name. The hype around him has been quite phenomenal, and Mick, the way he's been able to deal with it and take it all in his stride has been really impressive.
Yeah, it's been super mature, hasn't it? He just has not missed a beat. It's been nice to see some personality flow through when he has done his interviews, particularly over the last 12 months. And he just looks like a young man that's ready to step in and fill the biggest shoes of all.
I call him a precocious talent, one that's ahead of his time, and he showed that in his 17th year as well as his 18th. A back-to-back performer winning all Australian honours. I love to see that as well as potential. He's ignored all that hype and got on with the business of playing footy. He's an incredibly gifted boy that can play in all spots too. Back, forward, midfield, take it up in the air and kick goals, so he's the complete package.
Well, it's easy to see why he's had the comparisons to Dustin Martin, because when we take a look at some of the vision, not only is he almost an identical height and size, he loves the physicality. He's a brutal competitor for his size. He can go on ball and he loves the fend off, so that's what we know Dusty's made his name famous for. He can win clearance and win contested ball. But this is what we love about him. He's also got the ability to go forward and be a match winner. This was last season as a bottom major. He's taken on there a 200-centimetre key defender who actually got drafted to Western and Lewis Hayes and was too strong and almost won the game for Vic Country. So he loves the big moments. He can play forward. He can go through the midfield. He's the prototype of the modern-day midfielder, and he's going to be a superstar wherever he ends up.
Oh, it is so exciting to see such amazing talent at a young age and someone that obviously has that maturity to deal with it as well. He hails from the small Victorian country town of Tongala. His proud parents are Mark and Vanessa, and they are alongside our very own Ben Dixon. Dicko, welcome.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Now, you two need to relax. You're too tense. This has been an enormous build-up. Sometimes the draft pick one, be a couple of weeks. This has been going for about 24 months. So, Mark in particular, how are you feeling as your father tonight? He's a proud boy. You'll tell him he's very grounded, but for you, how's it shaping up?
We're just happy that this night's come. It's been dragging on a bit. So, just hopefully get it over with quick.
And Vanessa, you're a gun netballer, athlete. Your two daughters are gun A graders. The DNA and the sporting ability is obviously with you, is it?
Well, he got my height, not. But, we're all sort of a sporty family, so, yeah.
What about you, Mark? 400 games, Tongala, like you're a legend. You walk down the street. He walks down the Coles aisle and people are stopping him for photos. But his ability, I mean, he's got everything. But has he ever taken a mark like you did against Rochester? And I found this one when I went into Fox Footy.
Did you? He keeps trying, so we'll see how he goes. But
Keeps trying? What are you talking about? What about you, Vanessa, in terms of, like, we're talking about a superior athlete. Is he pretty picky about what he eats and all that sort of stuff? Give us an insight at home.
He loves his McDonald's. No, he loves his food.
He's just slipped a pick too now that, his dietary requirements are not there. But the family itself, your two daughters, how do they handle it as well, having Harley in the spotlight for so long?
Not too much different. He still fights with his older sister and he torments his younger one. Yeah, so.
Well, it's a big night for you. Harley's obviously been the spotlight of everything, but you're proud parents. You've done a great job. Once he's drafted, you hand him over and your job's done. So just enjoy the show.
That's right. He'll be out of the house, so it's one less to feed.
There you have it, Sarah. Back to you.
Well done. Thank you very much to Mark and Vanessa. Hungry boys, these growing athletes, Joey.
Yeah, I think Harley's pretty keen to get this draft started and get his name called out. It has been a long build-up, but good luck to him and everyone else tonight in this draft.
So, of course, West Coast have the number one pick in the draft ahead of North Melbourne with picks 2 and 3. Melbourne have a really big chance to be able to improve their list, which we know is very much in that premiership window. What about your old team, the Saints?
Yeah, got a strong hand, picks 13 and 21 at this stage. That might draw out. They've got to make sure they nail their picks, as do the Adelaide Crows. Got a really strong hand, looking to play finals next year, been on a nice trajectory as a football club. So a big night for a couple of clubs in particular.
A lot of talk going in about whether West Coast would keep hold of the number one pick. We don't know for sure, but it certainly feels like that at the moment. The next question is, Mick, should they look at their future first rounder for next year, bringing that into play to have a bigger play in tonight, a bigger say?
Yeah, it's been really heavily debated, hasn't it, what they should do. Do they do what they've done in previous years and split the pick? But look, I think they have to go now. As a football club, I think they've drafted well over the last couple of years, but they really need to back that up in 2023. And I'd like to see them trade in and potentially, if they can break into the top 10 and get a second pick around that mark, I think it'd really complement what they've got. And then obviously we know that they've got the one that currently sits at pick 23.
So, Joey, North Melbourne absolutely nailed the draft last year with Harry Sheasel, who, of course, went on to win the Rising Star, and George Wardlaw, who has made a cult hero of himself already. He is going to be a phenomenal footballer. Two great midfielders. Do they target more mids today, or do they look more for a needs base?
Well, it's been a bit of a theme over recent years. They are really stacking a strong sort of midfield and forward half type players. You can see the names on that list. That doesn't include Powell, who was a pick 13 a few years ago. Bailey Scott's coming along. So if they go with a couple more midfield forwards this year, Alistair Clarkson's going to have plenty of pieces to work with going forward. Where does he play them all? And then I think it gives them the luxuries of those picks later in the first rounds at 15, 17, 18 to maybe target some of those tall key defenders and rucks and see if they can continue to add to their list.
Mick, you'd do it differently?
Yeah, I would. I'd go a little bit different here. They've got a need for a tall defender. And the best tall defender in this draft is Daniel Curtin. If you go back to the 2020 draft, we saw him overlook Logan McDonald. And, geez, I think if you had a forward line now of Nick Larkey and Logan McDonald, it probably looks a little bit different for North Melbourne fans. So I think they've got to go. It's not necessarily just a need. It's the fact that he's one of the best players in the draft as well. But I think Daniel Curtin has to be in the mix for one of those first 2 picks for the Kangaroos.
The Curtin call is certainly going to be a big one tonight. He is a name on everyone's lips at Marvel Stadium. As we cross there now, our reporter Ben Waterworth has the latest. What are the whispers at the moment, Benny?
Hello, Jonesy. It's very tense here, to say the least, because there's a lot happening in terms of pick offers and trade offers being thrown all around the place. So one recruiter recently told me that it's an absolute mess in terms of the amount of offers that are coming at the moment. But there's a lot of eyes on the Giants pick 7 in particular. That is granted that Daniel Curtin slips all the way through to pick 7, because at the moment I think North Melbourne and Hawthorn are considering whether to take Daniel Curtin. The Roos are also considering Colby McKercher and Zane Dersma. Hawthorn looking at Nick Watson as well. Should things go to script and Daniel Curtin does slip to pick 7, I don't think the Giants will be looking at Daniel Curtin. So they have received a lot of offers in the past 24 hours in particular to try and get into the top 10 of this draft. My understanding is that Adelaide in particular, and even West Coast, as you mentioned before, guys, are a chance to get back into that top 10. And Adelaide will use those picks that they've got in the middle of the first round. They've got 3 picks between 20 and 20. That would come up in towards pick 7 there. They have been linked quite strongly to Daniel Curtin. Sydney, Essendon and Melbourne are also potentially looking at getting up the order as well. And Hawthorn, my understanding as well, is potentially looking at getting a second pick inside the top 10, so their future first might be on the table, so they can get a second player before a bid on father-son prospect Will McCabe a little bit later on. There is so much to go down tonight, guys. I think we might see more, at least offers, but maybe live trades actually get done in this draft, because trying to do a phantom draft this week was really, really hard. So lots to play out over the next couple of hours.
I bet it was. It is all happening. And then we will, of course, will assess how the phantom drafts have gone, won't we? That's part of the fun of it. Part of the fun of it for the Gold Coast Suns is the massive haul they're going to get tonight. This is really Christmas Day, not draft day for Damien Hardwick. They're Gold Coast Academy players we've had an eye on for quite some time, Shifter, and they've done the work. They've banked the points to be able to snare them.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because these 4 boys all not only starred for the Gold Coast Academy in the Coach Talent League down here in Victoria, but also then starred for the Allies against the best kids in Australia. So you played against SAWA and the Vics, and they come up trumps, and so that's why they're so highly regarded. And they've assembled those points then because Gold Coast got 3 choices in the 20s, then 3 in the 30s, and that gives them enough to be able to match the bids that might well come early. So we'll see how that plays out.
And the other luxury they have, it's such an even spread of who they've got. So they've got a tall ruckman, they've got a gun key forward, there's a midfield small forward there, and also a defender. So it's a nice complement of players that they're able to accumulate tonight. And
the extraordinary thing is that 3 of them come from the one football club, the Palm Beach Currumbin Football Club, which is where we find our very own Fox footy guru, Jonathan Brown, who is in the midst of it all. Brownie, are you the number 1 ticket holder? You're involved in the club. It's madness there.
Oh, jeez. It is madness. I can hardly hear you, Sarah, but we're going all right. This is the place. This is the place to be, that's for sure, tonight on the Gold Coast. It used to have the bigs. Sit down, will ya? Sit down, sit down. Bit of a surfy culture up here at the Palm Beach Currumbin Lions, but this is the place to be, hopefully with 3 first-round draft picks. I'm not sure any club could have claim to that anywhere in Australia.
Brownie, it's pretty big for football in Queensland, isn't it? How big is this for footy in the northern states?
It's very exciting. We saw Sam Collins here, the star for the Gold Coast Suns, in the background. There's a lot of momentum with footy here, obviously with Damien Hardwick's appointment for the Gold Coast Suns. Going to get a big draft haul tonight. We've got the Palm Beach Currumbin Footy Factory out the back where all the kids play. It's a fantastic time to be involved in Queensland footy. Obviously the Brisbane Lions made the grand final this year, but tonight it's all about the Gold Coast Suns.
And Brownie, a lot of proud people in the room, and of course Damien Hardwick will be watching on because he would have known about this incredible talent that was going to come through from the academy when he took the job. It's a pretty good Christmas gift.
Absolutely. Don't worry about it. Dimmer might have been a bit worn out at Richmond, but he quickly worked out there's a footy factory up here. There's a lot of school programs. Some of the kids do AFL as a subject, can you believe it or not? So there's a lot of talent development that's gone in from a very young age. So it's no surprise that Gold Coast, I suppose they're developing so many young players that are going to go in the first round. So yes, if that can translate to on-field success. These guys are going to be a big help for that.
Good stuff, Brownie. We'll let you go, get those kids under control, and we'll chat to you later.
They're in full voice tonight.
Oh, they certainly are. Well, the 2023 AFL draft is just about to begin. We're going to take a short break. On the other side of it, who will be picked number one in the draft? Will it be that man, the high-flying Harley Reid? Tonight, dreams will come true for our draftees. A dream that for Riley Sanders began as a mad Gold Coast Suns fan. He grew up idolising the great Gary Ablett. And for Colton Bolstrop, he was a Saints fan and ran out with Joey and the boys for his birthday. And it is a great reminder that tonight really is the culmination of lots of years of loving and living and breathing our great game of Aussie rules football. And I love seeing that vision. It's really gorgeous, isn't it? Seeing how they love the footy as little boys, and tonight their dream comes true. And for Colton, well, he's a bit of a cult hero already. He's quite the character.
Yeah, he is. But what you see with him is literally him in a nutshell. I mean, you've only got to look at the picture on the screen there.
They're doing a bit.
You know, at first you hear a little bit around, is it arrogance? And that's, I can assure you, he's as good a person as you'll ever meet. He's a unique person, I can certainly assure you of that. But what he brings to the table at an AFL club is talent, character, and I'll tell you right now, the boys are going to love him.
It is brilliant stuff. We love that. People that are authentic and genuine to themselves. All right, we're going to head to Marvel Stadium now and introduce the CEO of the AFL, Andrew Dillon, to get things underway.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 AFL Draft. Tonight's an exciting time for our AFL competition, and it's an even more exciting time for the players who are here with us at Marvel Stadium or watching the broadcast at home. All patiently waiting, all hoping to hear their name called, all wanting to realise their dreams of becoming an AFL footballer. We received more than 900 draft nominations from players in every state and territory across the country. It's a clear indicator our game is strong and our pathways continue to deliver the best Australian sporting talent. It's a life-changing moment to hear your name called. To those of you selected, your new clubs will provide you with the tools and teachings to be successful. You can do extraordinary things, but you have to make it happen. It's up to each and every one of you to determine how you use this opportunity to write your own future. It's a special time in your lives. Tonight's a night for celebration. It's a special time for your family and friends and teammates, and it's great to see so many of them in the room here tonight. Make sure you take a moment to thank them for all of their support. Tonight is the first time we are presenting the Alan Aylett Medal to the #1 draft pick. I would like to personally welcome the Aylett family, and in particular Alan's wife Marge, who's here tonight. Alan was a giant of our game. He was an innovator who continued to energetically drive change in football. He was not only one of the great ideas men in our game, but also a wonderful person whose passion for football and family knew no bounds. The player tonight who will be presented with the Aylett Medal is about to have his name called and his life changed. That time has come. The 2023 AFL Draft starts now, and the West Coast Eagles have the first pick. Thank you.
So here we go. The West Coast Eagles are on the clock in the 2023 National Draft. And Mick, it's been a really tough couple of years for the Eagles, but tonight is one about total positivity and celebration because they are going to get an incredibly gifted footballer into their club, no matter who it is.
Yeah, they certainly are. And I think a lot of that, Sarah, comes from it's unfamiliar territory for the West Coast Eagles. It's very, very rare that they find themselves down the bottom of the ladder, and I think that's where some of the frustration has grown over in the West. But look, as I mentioned earlier, they've had a couple of really nice drafts. They're starting to assemble some high-quality talent, and now they're about to bring in the best kid in the country, Joey.
Yeah, and we understand where they're at as a football club. They're on this journey now to rebuild, and it feels as if they've resisted the temptation, I should say. They've had plenty of offers for that #1 pick, but I think this football club, led by Adam Simpson, they know where they're going. They've still got a little bit of work to do, and I'm sure they understand that as well as anybody. But tonight is a start and heading in the right direction with whoever they choose.
And Rowan O'Brien will be leading the debate. He's the list manager, recruiting manager. I can see Trevor Woodhouse, Stephen Nash, some very experienced people there in the room with Adam Simpson. I'm sure that they'll make a great decision for their footy club.
They're making us wait.
They
Joey,
are.
for this first one, the tension is building.
Well, there was a little thing that said trade is in. So for West Coast Eagles fans, I think don't get nervous. I don't think that's a trade for pick 1. There might be some other trades going on, but pick 1 is in.
So the pick is in. We just wait for confirmation on who the West Coast Eagles are taking. We know there's a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation that goes with being the #1 draft pick. But, well, whoever it is will have to handle that and I'm sure take it all in their stride.
Yeah, look, the hype's been huge in the West. They are very, very excited, you know, to get the best player, whoever that happens to be. You know, a lot of the talk around Harley, but whoever it comes across to the West is going to be one very, very happy young man because they're going to have the support of an entire state.
So that trade was just a trade between Melbourne and St Kilda, just basically a pick swap there. So trading future picks next year for picks this year. So just that's what the trade was there.
And we'll see a bit of that tonight. Clubs trying to accumulate points, shuffling a few spots higher in the draft.
Yeah, our understanding is there are a number of clubs that will do some pick swaps early in this draft. So in the first couple of picks, we might see this happen. It might include the Gold Coast Suns as well, who we believe are trying to accumulate more points to make sure they get their 4 academy prospects. So we'll just keep an eye on that early in this draft.
Shifter, what have the Eagles told the player in question, do you think?
Look, it may have happened in the last 24 hours. Often clubs leave it until then because you never know what might happen in the lead-up. A player might get injured or whatever, so they normally leave it very, very late.
And it's interesting, isn't it, too? Like, trading opened an hour before the draft as well. So, you know, it's the unexpected. And, Joey, you touched on what can happen over the course of, you know, the time leading into the draft and the time of, you know, of that period of that week that actually leads up to it as well. So you're right, Shifter, a lot can change and a number of machinations will come in. I'm sure the door would have been left well and truly open right up until the last minute.
So there has been another trade that has happened, and that is Gold Coast, as we thought, are getting more picks and Brisbane Lions are going to move up in this draft.
With pick 1, the West Coast Eagles select Harley Reid from the Bendigo Pioneers and the Tongala Football Netball Club.
To present the inaugural Alan Aylett Medal, the medal awarded to the #1 draft pick, please welcome, representing the Aylett family, Michael Aylett. Presenting the jumper for the Eagles is Nick Natanui.
Well, there we have it. Harley Reid is the #1 pick in the 2023 National Draft. And what a moment, getting the #9 from Nick Natanui, a famous number at the West Coast Eagles. Shifter.
Yeah, what a fantastic recognition is for the Bendigo Pioneers as well. We talked of Dusty Martin earlier. He come from there. So did Joel Selwood. In fact, the entire Selwood clan come up through there. Ollie Wines, a Brownlow medalist. So did Danny O'Brien and the coach of the Pioneers. It's wonderful for them. This boy, as we mentioned, all of the traits of a star, but he's performed like a star should. And that includes, he won a medal early in the year for Australia's best player when the best boys in Australia under Tarkin Lockyer played against Port Adelaide at Sandford level. So against men, if you like, he won the medal for the best. Third in the Lark medal. He won the MVP for Vic Country, so he's performed on the biggest stage available.
What a moment for young Harley Reid as we head out to Marvel Stadium. Ben Dixon has the man of the moment alongside him. Dicko, over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. Harley, it's over now. Fantastic to get to West Coast, and the year's been a big one, but now how's it feeling? It's finally come.
Yeah, the butterflies set a bit there when it started them, but yeah, it's just a big relief, and yeah, good luck to all the other boys out there tonight. So yeah.
I spoke to Mum and Dad. They were a little nervous behind me. They'll be relieved now. It's all over. You can get on with the journey. But the journey itself, though, you played for 6 teams this year, so pretty incredible when you're playing academies, VFL, championships. So it's a big year for you.
Yeah, no, it was. No, there was a lot of huge opportunities that come my way this year, and I was happy to take it with both hands. So yeah, I really enjoyed my time there.
How did you handle the hype? I have to ask you, because the noise and the media, and it was a circus at times, but from you personally, how did you handle it?
Yeah, I was pretty laid back with it all, to be honest. I was just super grateful for the people around me and all my friends and family in my local club. I've got on me jumper here, so I was at my Bendigo Pioneers, so I'm super grateful to have them, and they're all back home at the local club. Got a great setup there, so I appreciate all you guys, and thanks for the support, and I couldn't do it without you guys, so love yous all.
Hey, sensationally said, Harley. And you got your family, you got your friends here, and you mentioned Tongala. Dad was 401 game. I was trying to pump him up before, but he just keeps shooting me down.
Yeah, you got to give him a few beers to get something out of him.
Well, mate, it's a big effort. You're off to the West. Enjoy the career.
Appreciate it, man. Legend. Thank you.
Back to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Dicko. What a remarkably well-spoken young man. A good laid-back country kid who, as Dicko said, 6 different teams during the year. So the maturity of playing VFL football for Essendon and Carlton. He played for the Bendigo Pioneers, the National Academy, Vic Country, and then sneaking in a game for Tony as well. It's sensational.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible, isn't it? And to be given the number 9, what big shoes to fill.
With pick 2, North Melbourne select Colby McKercher from the Tasmania Devils and the Launceston Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for North Melbourne is Brent Harvey.
So Colby McKercher joins the North Melbourne Football Club alongside Sheasel and Wardlaw in a midfield that is to be feared, Shifter. That is going to be quite the classy mid.
Well, I call him dazzling and dynamic. Dazzling with his speed, dynamic with his left foot. And is he then prolific? He averaged 33 disposals in national championships. Hits the scoreboard as well. He's got all the tricks in the book. Love watching him play. Exciting the way he arches the back and gets out of that midfield.
And I think he could play anywhere for North Melbourne. I mean, they are stacked in the midfield. They've got Simpkin and Davies Uniacke. We know about Wardlaw, and they've got Phillips and others. So he can play on a wing. He could start half forward, potentially a bit like maybe Sheets, who could start across half back and use those foot skills. But he'll fit in with that Kangaroo side that they're continuing to build, as we spoke about earlier, through the midfield.
Yeah, gets his jumper presented by one of the absolute legends of the game of AFL in Boomer Harvey. And look, I just love this kid's ability to hold his width and his shape around the contest. It's a real modern AFL trait, and you know, his ability to work both ways is what really impressed me too over the course of the year. He's got a number of traits that are going to really adapt and work well immediately within an AFL environment.
Shifter, the first of many Tasmanians we might see tonight. The Allies team was sensational this year, and we're probably going to see that reflected on draft night.
Well, it's going to happen there. What a year for Tassie, though, to be given the 19th licence, and then to see quite a number of their boys will be taken tonight. I've got no doubt about that. Maybe it's really kick-started the interest in AFL, if ever it died off over that way. They're right on board now, and he's a young star on the way up, and I think there'll be a few just behind him.
Can't wait to hear from Colby McKercher. Let's head to Ben Dixon.
Thank you, Sarah. Colby, pick 2, North Melbourne. Tell us, did North Melbourne let you know they were going to grab you if Harley went number 1?
Yeah, I didn't really have an idea. I had a sort of an inkling that it might be North Melbourne, but huge surprise to be in the blue and white. Yeah, it's good.
Massive years, second in the Lark medal, all the achievements and great reward for you. North Melbourne, hey, pretty excited?
Yeah, I'm super excited. They have a super exciting list, and obviously Clarko coming along. So yeah, the future's bright, and I'm keen to be a part of it.
Clarko's going to love you because the dietitians won't have to do much. You do your own cooking, like. Butter chicken's your specialty before a game. How do you keep that down? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I don't know. Mum's taught me well, so yeah, I'll give it to her.
And your pop, used to have kick to kick with your pop, and you had to retire him 5 years ago. He couldn't kick the kick, but now you play lawn bowls together, so good connection.
Yeah, Pop's been a big figure in my life, and yeah, he's probably got me started on football. So I just love hanging out with him, and footy's probably a bit past him now. So we head to the lawn bowl and have a roll. So it's good.
You'll be sitting at home absolutely wrapped. So you enjoy it, and the journey's just ahead. Well done.
Cheers. Thank you.
Well done.
So beautiful to see the family connections and the pops and the grandmas and the mums and the dads, all the roles that they get to play in developing these future stars.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where it gets frustrating sometimes, Sarah, when they're talked down, because when you see what it actually means to the families and the people around them, like you could see how emotional his pop was there, and I just love their ability to share in that, and that's a memory that's going to go on forever and ever, and something that I'm sure the family will cherish.
So North Melbourne have the following pick in pick number 3. This is a compensation pick for Ben Mackay, Joey. And Shifter, I'm interested in the thinking when they've got back-to-back picks. How do the clubs tackle that with having a pick one after the other? As we see there, a bid on Jed Walter. Probably no surprise there, and the Gold Coast Suns matching bid is pending.
Yeah, it won't take them long to match the bid on this boy. He's the other boy that with Harley Reid was a back-to-back All-Australian. So he got 2 years of performance at the very highest level where he won that honour. Is imposing figure, this boy, up inside 50, even pushes out to be the key forward. A lot like Charlie Curnow, both in looks and the way he plays. Just love his, as well as his marking, it's the way he hunts the footy when it hits the deck. He works very, very hard to support his smaller players, and he'll run down the opposition with strong tackles as well. So he looks to be perfect material for that big marking target up forward.
Yeah, I spoke to a good friend of mine that works in the Gold Coast Suns talent program, and he just raved John Dietz about this young man's work ethic. He just said it was absolutely remarkable.
With pick 3, Gold Coast select Jed Walter from the Gold Coast Suns Academy and the Palm Beach Currumbin Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for Gold Coast is Damien Hardwick.
What a moment for Jed Walter and Damien Hardwick. A big smile there. He's happy with that one, Joey.
Yeah, he's happy. He might be busy too tonight, Damien Hardwick, but I mean, Shifter just spoke about it, and so did Mick. I mean, what a presence he is as a key forward. We know how combative he is with his contested marking, but the wants and the will to chase and tackle and do the defensive things is something that's rare in a key forward with his ability. So, I mean, he's going to slot in beautifully into this Gold Coast Suns forward line. And when you think about what it could look like in a couple of years' time with Walter alongside Ben King, Jack Lukosius and Bailey Humphrey, it's a pretty potent combination, and no wonder Damien Hardwick's excited and took the job, because he knows what's ahead of him and what he's got to work with, particularly in the forward half of the team now for the Gold Coast Suns. So well done to young Jed Walter.
Jed said in the lead-up he's really familiar and knows all of the boys. He knows the training facilities, he knows the club, and that he already feels like he's part of it. How much will that help when he steps foot in there as an actual Gold Coast Suns player?
Yeah, it's just a smooth transition, isn't it? It makes perfect sense for these guys to spend some time in that environment. And, you know, you mentioned Joey about his talents. I really liken him to Jack Riewoldt. I like his aerial prowess, and I know Shifter mentioned about his work at ground level. I just think he's got so much to offer, and he warranted being in the conversation for the number 1 pick too. He had links back to WA through his mum being from down Dunsborough way, which is a beautiful part of the state. And you know, it's interesting, if they had been able to get access to him, I think he would have been right in the frame. I think he's that highly rated. His 2 years at under-18 championship level have been of the highest quality, very similar to what Harley Reid did.
All right, let's head to Jed now. He's alongside Ben Dixon. Dicko, is Jed pretty happy, I imagine?
Oh, very happy, Jed. Damien Harwick, new coach. Had a bit to do with Dimmer. You're on the right track there, going to the Gold Coast Suns. A nice new journey for you, but you got the whole family here. You grew up in Perth, moved when you were younger to the Gold Coast, and been in the academy for a long time as well, haven't you?
Yeah, moved over when I was 8 and then started playing footy when I was 9. So always loved the AFL, and it's a really special moment to be here with the family and friends. So couldn't be more pumped.
And captain the Allies, their first ever national championships this year. Pretty special time.
Oh yeah, it was unreal. I mean, first time for Allies to win the championships, and to do it with that group of boys, it was a special moment, that's for sure.
And we always ask you about your idols growing up. Charlie Curnow, he's one of your idols?
Yeah, love Charlie Curnow. Love him.
Stand up, mate, just for a minute. I think you got him covered. Have a look at you. Hey, I said to Dimmer when he's walking off, I said, the surfboard's about as wide as you. Like, you're ready for a big career ahead of you. Now, who's the characters of the group behind? You brought your whole family here. Who's the biggest character?
Not sure. Probably the mates and stuff, but...
Well, I've already singled one out. Nan. Jean. Hey, this is preparation. How are you feeling?
I'm so proud of him. Yes, yeah, I really am.
When you watch his footy, do you when he comes off, do you criticise him and say, you could have done that better, or you're always positive?
No, I say he did well.
Well, you got free tickets to Gold Coast now, so don't worry about paying any more. Enjoy the ride, Nan.
Sounds lovely, yes, and congratulations to him.
Yeah. Back to you, Sarah.
Oh, bless. That's beautiful. Well done, Nan. What a moment to share it with them. But that's what it's all about tonight, the entire journey of these players and the people that have helped them to get there. North Melbourne, of course, have the pick now, and a lot of question marks on what they're going to do here, as we discuss, whether it's another midfielder. Here we go.
With pick 4, North Melbourne select Zane Dersma from the Gippsland Power and the Foster Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for North Melbourne is Michael Ferrito.
So Zane Dersma finds his way to the North Melbourne Football Club. He is classy and composed a beautiful finisher, Shifter.
I call him a mercurial player. That means he can do the unpredictable things very, very well. That includes his goal kicking and his marking. He'll come from the side of the pack and jump up and take the mark that you don't expect to happen. So he's very hard to match up on. In the biggest game of the year, arguably, when the two Vics met, he was best on the ground. He had 20-odd disposals, 10 marks, 4 goals. He broke the game apart in the third quarter, so he can play in the big matches, kick 42 goals for the year in 20 matches, so it's goal power with him. He ended up the best and fairest winner down at Gippsland Power as well, so performance on the board. He's a special player, I think.
Yeah, I liken him a little bit to a Shawnee Burgoyne with the class and the silk, the way that he plays, the way that he moves and can play half forward through the midfield. He's an exceptional talent. I think he complements the group they've already got really well. As we said earlier, I think Alistair Clarkson has now got plenty of pieces he can move around and work with. And with Harry Sheasel, who was drafted as a similar type of player, a forward of centre player, coming out of under-18s, he ended up playing across half-back. Do they look to do something similar with one of the two players they've drafted in either Dersma or McKercher? Just ease them in to the competition across half-back, let them find their feet, get plenty of ball. They both use it really well, and they'll continue to build nicely.
Well, we'll find out where Zane would like to play at the Kangaroos because Dicko has him now. Dicko, what does he think?
Zane, well, he's pretty pumped. I asked him, Sarah, who he barracked for as a kid, and he didn't barrack for anyone, so North Melbourne's your new team.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. Correct.
So, Mum and Dad, you know, in terms of your family, footy's through there. You've got Xavier at Essendon now, and, I mean, it's right through, but go through the letters again. W, Y, X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
like,
so you got W, X, Y, and Z, so I got all four of us kids are here tonight. So it's Willem, Xavier, Yasmin, and me. So
if they had another one, would you go back to the start and have an Adam?
that was what we thought. Yeah, should be A. So double A, Aaron, or something like that. So
What about your football, though? Like an incredible year. The reward now that you got your family here to celebrate it. You've seen a few go before you. The nerves are gone now. Are you excited?
yeah, relieved really. Now looking forward to everything that's to come. So yeah.
Well, when you play against your brother, you just go the knuckle. That's the first advice you'll ever get, all right? Enjoy that, mate. Well done.
Get into him. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, mate. Cheers.
A talented sporting family indeed, but a player who's great in front of goals is so important. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what football's about, Mick, scoring goals, and he's able to do that as well as have that time in the mid.
Yeah, he hits the scoreboard consistently, and look, when I watch him, it's poetry in motion. He's just a really balanced, smooth-moving type of player. And it's his ability to sit off the stoppage that I really like. He sits there, he lets the game unfold, and I see a little bit of Mark Lacroix in him.
Mark Lacroix and Sean Burgoyne, these are good comparisons.
Well,
We
they
love
play similar. They got
No, we
everyone's
like
got
it.
the eye of the beholder. There's you know, when we talk about the similarities in some of the way these players
Smooth.
play, we're trying to just give the people at home a bit of an idea of what to look for. But he's a high-class talent. They've already got some forward of centre players. I mean, Cam Zurhaar does it differently, but can play forward and through the midfield. Taron Thomas can play that role. We know Harry Sheasel can as well. So I like those players that can play sort of midfield and forward, hit the scoreboard, because that's an important facet in footy these days.
Great highlights reel is always good when you join a football club. Hawthorn are next up with pick number 5 in the draft. They're at an interesting stage of their development, Joey. What are they looking for here?
Well, this has been where it starts to get, I suppose, a little bit interesting, because there is talk that, you know, they do need key defenders. I think that's fair. We've seen how much they rely on James Sicily. Do they go the key defender or do they go the small forward?
With pick 5, Hawthorn select Nick Watson from the Eastern Rangers and the East Ringwood Junior Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for Hawthorn is Michael Tuck.
What a moment, receiving the Hawthorn jumper from a Hawthorn legend. And Nick Watson kicked 70 goals across his football this year for the Eastern Rangers, Vic Metro, Academy, Caulfield Grammar. And he was really emotional then too, Shifter.
That was great to see, wasn't it? I was starting to tear up a little bit there too. I call him the bee in the bottle. I say that because his sideway movement his speed, and then even the way he jumps. He goes every single direction to make it hard to control this young fella. He's a goal kicker. He can kick them from any angle, deep in pockets, from 50 metres out. He kicked 14 in the national championships in 4 games, made All-Australian as a small forward. So he's got special ability up around the sticks. I just love the fact that he's a bit like a Shea Bolton or even a Cody Waitman, that he can get up in the air and take that mark one-on-one that really surprises you.
Even a bit of Cozzy Pickett as well.
Yeah,
I mean, he's sort of
exactly.
little pocket rocket. He can sit on heads. He
Yep.
can kick miraculous goals. He's going to be a joy to watch for the next 15 years. He's going to be so much fun. And they need another small forward. Luke Bruce can't continue to do it forever. And he's got a great role model to learn from in Luke Bruce for the next 12 to 24 months.
How good to learn from him and then to eventually assume that role. Let's head to Dicko now. Dicko, Nick looked really emotional. This must mean so much to him.
Yeah, he's very emotional, Nick. You're going to the Hawks. You've just had Michael Tuck present you the jumper and there's no pressure. You just got to play 426 games now.
Yeah, well, we hope so. We'll see how we go.
Well, you're a little bit nervous now, the relief's there, but you're going to the Hawks and Joey just said it, you can do anything. Caulfield Grammar in the goal square, jumping on blokes' heads, kicking goals from anywhere, and the crowd would follow you end to end. That means you're a bit of an excitement machine, is that right?
Yeah, that's the way I like to play footy. It just brings fun to it. Yeah, Caulfield's a fun year. Yeah, taking some hangers if I can.
Take a few. They call you the Wizard, don't they?
Yeah, Carl Toomey will love that.
Well, Boomer Harvey, you played with Cooper Harvey. You're actually the same height, 170 centimetres, so Boomer played an enormous amount of games like Tucky. What sort of advice has the great man given you?
Yeah, when I was younger, yeah, I had a lot of people saying I was too small to play AFL, and it sort of got to my head. But having Boomer in my ear for that trip in Tasmania was unreal, and he sort of set me up, and yeah, I looked up to him heaps.
And you're my type of player. You love a little bit of lip, and your idol's Tom Papley, so that goes hand in hand.
Yeah, don't mind it. Brings out the fun of it. So yeah, don't mind getting under players' skin.
Well, you're going to have a bit of fun. The Hawks are on the build, and they need a small forward like you with a bit of energy. So well done, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What a great story, Joey, about his involvement with Brent Harvey and how that inspired him with the confidence that it doesn't matter. I mean, 170 centimetres, it's on the shorter side, but it doesn't matter. Our game really does cater for all.
It doesn't. And to be fair, we're seeing a lot of the smaller players in the competition dominate in recent years. When you think about Errol Goulden and the year he's had, a lot of the under 180s have had big impacts at football clubs. And it doesn't matter about his height. He's going to be an absolute beauty.
And Boomer's said for years that size won't stop you. If you're good enough, you're big enough, was his mantra.
With pick 6, the Western Bulldogs select Riley Sanders from the Sandringham Dragons and the North Launceston Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for the Western Bulldogs is Lindsay Gilby.
So Riley Sanders lands at the Western Bulldogs, an old-fashioned footballer who models his game on Lockie Neal and Tom Greenshifter.
Well, he's the ultra pro, I call him, and performer, just a polished player that prepares so well and produces from week to week. An outstanding player all year in the Coates Talent League. He played for Sandy, although he's from Tasmania, come across to Melbourne Grammar. So he then played for the Allies and dominated. Won the Lark Medal, which has been won by Christian Petrarca, Sam Walsh in recent years. That gives you an idea of the level he played at there. And he's just at that high level of performance I love. He's good on the inside, creates for his teammates, and a wonderful young leader.
Yeah, I love his lateral movement. I just think the time that it gives him, he's almost like a quarterback in the pocket where he just buys himself that extra few moments to distribute and make good decisions. And when he's at the stoppage, he's the first to leave, which is really important in today's footy, your ability to to leave and spread from stoppage becomes vital, and he's a very, very special player in that sense.
And a really logical pick for the Western Bulldogs. We know they've got a great midfield at the moment, but we also know they probably just lack that next tier of some young developing mid, so he's ready to fill the void, and he might play sooner rather than later. Even though it's a stacked Western Bulldogs midfield, he might force his way into the team.
We saw that great vision of him earlier running through the banner. We're going to meet Riley Sanders now with Ben Dixon.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, Riley, just chatting then about, who spoke to you, who showed the most interest, and you try and do the math on where you're going to go, but how keen were the Bulldogs and coming into tonight?
Yeah, no, I had a good inkling from my manager, Nick Geeshan, that if I was there, I could potentially end up at the Doggies, so I'm just so stoked to be there, and yeah, they've got so many good players that I'll be able to learn off, which is great, yeah.
You won the Lark medal in the National Championships, averaging 33. No slouch to find in the onion, but how did you find the carnival in your year itself?
Yeah, it was amazing. Had a great kind of 6 weeks with Allies boys to win the champs, and then to win the medal was great, yeah.
You played for the Gold Coast Suns growing up, and you had the privilege, and we've seen the vision of you running out with Gary Ablett. Do you model your game on Gary, because he's one of the greats of all time?
Yeah, no, I probably don't model my game, but yeah, he's probably, in my opinion, the greatest player of all time, and he's definitely my hero, so yeah, it was great.
And Harry Sheasel's a good mate of yours. He'll give you some great advice how to just dominate in year one.
Yeah, no, he always gives me good advice. Hopefully I can take a leaf out of his book with that, yeah.
Oh, congratulations. You go and enjoy that with the family and friends here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Riley talks about Harry Sheasel. He already looks a ready-to-go player. Riley could make an impact pretty early with the Dogs.
Oh, he could. He's got a mature body, but a mature head as well, so his makeup's fantastic. He'll slip straight into the pro environment and be a star on the training track.
And great to see his dad, Adam, there as well, Shifter. He's had a huge impact in Tasmanian football for a long, long time, and I bumped into him actually in the hotel before coming here, and as always, he was nice and calm and composed, and I'm sure he's had a huge influence on Riley's career.
Joey, we're seeing more than ever young players being superstars of our competition. I mean, Nick Dacos and what he's done in 2 years of AFL football, Will Ashcroft as well. These are players that are coming in, and they're not taking their time. They're taking the competition by storm initially.
You're spot on. They can impact the team straight away. So I'm sure he'll have that sort of impact, and the Western Bulldogs will be hoping he does.
With pick 7, Melbourne select Caleb Windsor from the Eastern Rangers and the Listerfield Junior Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for Melbourne is David Nix.
So a wonderful moment there, and I think we're seeing these clubs, they've got so many people there to hug and to kiss and to enjoy this moment, but that is what it's all about, Nick.
Yeah, and we see on the screen there too, Sarah, the bolter, absolutely he was. He was ranked as high as around 19, 20, only as recently as a couple of weeks ago, and there was a whisper that went around that Melbourne targeted him, and no wonder. He's the guy you want kicking the football. He's elite by foot. He's an extraordinary distributor. He draws forwards into the ball. Like you can see it there, he just puts it into the right place, and he actually draws them up into where he actually places the ball. I like him in his movement. He's got more speed, doesn't necessarily have the endurance type levels of the player I'm about to say, but Lachie Whitfield, he's so smooth and just glides across the ground.
Wonderful to see David Dietz presenting that jumper to one of their great players there at Melbourne. Yeah, I call him scintillating speed. That's how good the speed is. His kicking is excellent, like a Lachie Whitfield. So he was also the best player for Vic Metro when they were beaten by the Allies. Wonderful to see a boy bob up as the best player when the side's down.
mum Margarita there. And Joey, we know the modern day wingman is so important, and this is going to feel a real need for Melbourne.
Yeah, it is. This is a complimentary piece for Melbourne. I think that they are no doubt got a list that's still in the sweet spot of being able to win another premiership. We know they've got plenty of talent and size through the midfield. I think this is a piece, this is someone they've targeted and said we need some speed and skill, and that's exactly who they've gone and got, the best outside midfielder in this draft board. As the boys have touched on, he's got that ability to break lines and maybe force his way into the side. He might take maybe a slight bit longer than maybe the top 6 picks to break into the best team, but it won't be long, and he'll show his best assets.
All right, as we wait to have a chat to Caleb Windsor with Ben Dixon, we've got a little bit of movement around pick number 8. We're going to head to Dicko first, Snow. We're going to head to Caleb Windsor with Dicko now.
Caleb, that was the biggest roar of the night. Incredible the support you've got behind you, but how does it feel now, Goody? We're pretty rapt to get your leg speed, considering top 3 in the 20-metre sprint of the combine.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's grateful for the opportunity. Just thank the boys and my family for coming out. Yeah, it's good.
What about your mum, Margarita? She just shed a tear here before. Mum, how are you feeling?
Super proud and emotional.
I got more tissue, so don't worry. You got to enjoy this moment. But the roar behind you, it would have been a fight for tickets. We only get 20 allowed, but all the mates have come to support you throughout the year. How have they been?
Yeah, no, they've been awesome. Like I was lucky enough that Bull ended up stealing all the mates, so I got to invite more family. But no, it's been good. They've been very supportive. So yeah.
What about your year this year? How you personally felt you went this year?
Yeah, I started off a bit slow. I was coming off an ankle injury, but then kind of found my feet in the second half of the season, which is good. And then kind of kept that consistent.
Well, you're going to love the MCG. Plenty of space. You got wheels to burn. So enjoy the journey along with Melbourne Footy Club. Well done.
Thanks, Dicko. Appreciate it.
Congratulations to Caleb Windsor there with our very own Ben Dixon. And while that was happening, we had a trade between the Adelaide Football Club and the GWS Giants. The Crows trading up. They've obviously seen something on the draft board that they want. And Joey, they've made some moves to get it.
Yeah, they have. So they've had to give up a future second rounder as well as sliding back a little bit in the draft. But they've targeted someone specifically, and I feel they've got their man. So they will be pumped, the Adelaide Crows.
With pick 8, Adelaide select Daniel Curtin from Claremont and the West Coast Junior Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for Adelaide is Mark Bigley.
The highest rated West Australian player in the draft is headed for the Adelaide Crows. And Mick, you've seen a lot of Daniel. You rate him highly. Models his game on Fox Footy's very own Matthew Pavlich.
Yeah, and he's the likeness, Sarah. That's what I've said the whole year over. He's just a remarkable type that can play back, mid, forward. He captained the Colts Premiership. He played 6 league games, and I thought Ash Prescott did a really nice job of teaching this young man at league level. Played him in defence. He had 21 disposals on debut, and he just allowed him to see the game unfold in front of him. He's very, very composed, as you see here. Just his ability to switch his decision. You know, we see him there getting the MVP medal for WA. He had 27 disposals and 8 clearances versus Vic Metro in a game at the Under-18 Championships. At 197 centimetres and 95 kilos, he's a beast. And I know it might sound ridiculous to say at pick 8 that he's a steal, but he is a steal in this draft.
All right, let's head to Ben Dixon, who has Daniel with him. Ben.
Daniel, Mickey Ablett just said on the coverage, you're a steal. You're a Perth boy. You're going to the Crows. Did you have any inkling that it was going to be the Adelaide Crows tonight?
No, not at all. Didn't. Yeah, big surprise, but it would have been with anyone else as well. So yeah, no.
What about you? You had an incredible year with Claremont. You played in the seniors at Waffle. That's got to be a great experience going into your first season next year.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely awesome, and to win the premiership with all my mates at Colts was great, and the experience playing league footy was awesome too.
How'd that feel winning the under-19 premiership with your mates there, and obviously you're moving on to the big league?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It was a great experience, and yeah, very fortunate for it.
So who do you model your game on? You can go forward, you can go back. You got a bit of pav about you, being the WA boy.
Yeah, no, yeah, someone like Pav, just versatility across a lot of positions, something that yeah, definitely like to be compared to. Yeah.
Well, Dan, congratulations, mate. You're now Crow.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Brilliant, good stuff. And Shifter, one of his biggest attributes is how well he disposes of the football as well.
Yeah, because he's composed. He doesn't panic at all. He's got great vision. He sets the play up. He's also best on the ground when the best 17-year-olds in the country played a curtain raiser on the MCG Grand Final Day a year ago. That's when he stood on their shoulders. He did it all that day, and wonderful to see that this boy that won their MVP this year has got his spot in the top 10.
And certainly they've filled a need, the Adelaide Crows. We know they're stacked in their front half, they're building at their midfield, but they needed to continue to address their defence. And with Nick Murray, their best key defender, out with an ACL for a period of time, Worrell at the play, sort of undersized at times, and they've got butts, but I think this just continues to build what they've got in their back line. He's going to fill a need. I think he plays almost straight away. He's played senior football, as you guys have touched on. So I think it's a really nice selection by the Adelaide Crows, and the reason why they moved up and have given away essentially a future second rounder and slid back a little bit in this first round. But as we said, they get the person they're after.
Like the aggression of when there is a specific person that you need, then moving around to be able to do that. Geelong, next up on the clock. Plenty of top-end talent still left, Mick Ablett.
Yeah, there is, absolutely. I think the name that everybody's looking and waiting to hear next is probably Nate Caddy. He seems to be the one that's been linked to Geelong. I know there's a number of clubs coming up that were very, very keen to get their hands on him, so I wouldn't be surprised to see his name called out very, very shortly.
Depends on whether it's next best player. You know, they have that debate about do you take the taller player. Connor O'Sullivan's another one. He might be the best defender that's there. There's a boy called Darcy Wilson that might be the best, let's say, half forward or wingman available. An elite runner that also a great performer this year. There'll be lots of names. They might even bid. There might even be a bid coming about this point too, and another.
So we have Ethan Reid, the star ruckman, who of course is part of the Gold Coast Academy. So a bid pending from the Gold Coast Suns. We expect them to match that, and Geelong making them pay.
Yeah, they are, and it warrants it too. This is what I love now about this bidding process is the clubs have to pay fair value. And I know in the past we've heard of the Isaac Heaney's and the likes that have slipped through a little bit later, but if we look at the board there, so if the Gold Coast Suns are to match this bid, it takes out pick 34, 38 and 40, slides them back in the draft, their next selection being pick 49. So, you know, it is a lot to give up, but Ethan Reid, as we saw, Shifter, his 2K time trial, I think was the thing that really rocketed him up the charts.
Under 6 minutes. That's why that people compare him to Mark Mixler, and he might well play on a wing. He can play anywhere, this boy, at 202. He's played in the ruck, he plays centre-half back, even wing, kicks it so beautifully. Didn't take him long to match it.
With pick 9, Gold Coast select Ethan Reid from the Gold Coast Suns Academy and the Palm Beach Currumbin Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for Gold Coast is Damien Hardwick.
So 202 centimetres, and Joey, his 2K time trial at the Combine, 5 minutes 56. That is flying.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, to be fair, Jonesy. I mean, this is what we're calling the new breed of unicorns. These guys that are over 200 centimetres, that can run, they can play any position on the ground. So he's probably going to develop into a ruck at some stage, but he's got the athleticism that he could start on a wing, he could start across half-back. There's plenty of options for Damien Hardwick. I mean, you look at his numbers, he's got better numbers as a junior than, say, like a Luke Jackson or a Tim English, who are those sort of modern unicorns who can cover the ground and play in multiple positions. He's going to be a beauty. He'll take a bit of time, Shifter, but gee, they've got a lot of exciting times with him.
And those numbers at the national level when he played the 4 games, he averaged 21.5 disposals at 76. This is a ruckman, mind you, and 7.5 marks, 13 hit-outs. Yeah, unbelievable, and an All-Australian as well. So wonderful to see another Queenslander get up.
And another one for the Palm Beach Currumbin Football Club, where we saw Jonathan Brown. The party will be rocking there, a big night for them. And as he said, it's extraordinary to have one club have so much success at the one time, particularly a club that is in the northern states. Dicko, let's head to you now and let's meet this young man.
Yes, Ethan, standing at 202. You've grown 11 centimetres in the last 2 years, so you've got plenty of room to go. But Gold Coast Suns, but you must be pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm stoked at the moment, so yeah.
Jed Walters, I just chatted to him. The families are close, so the academy boys will be there on the journey together. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Mum and Jed's mum have been friends their whole life, so yeah, it's been really good.
And the nickname, the Unicorn, can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, I guess I can play in other positions, so yeah, I guess that's why they call me the Unicorn.
Yeah, so the 2K time trial, sub-6, so you can move. You've got a huge engine, so don't think you're going to play much ruck at the Gold Coast Suns, I would have thought.
Yeah, not at the moment. Got to put a bit of size on, but yeah, we'll see.
So Geelong put a bid in, and the fact they put a bid in, they wanted another Mark Blixarve, so you'll get your opportunity. But Ethan, congratulations, mate. You're an academy kid. You're going to stay there. Well done.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Brilliant there from Ben Dixon and Ethan Reid, a player that we're going to watch for a long time and see what he can do.
And he's got a bit of time. They've still got Jared Witts, who's 31 years of age. Ned Moyle, they really like at the Gold Coast Suns, who can come in and ruck. And then they've got Reid, who they have some options with going forward.
The Bombers have just traded up here. They've jumped one pick over Geelong, so they have the next pick at pick number 10. What are they seeing, do you think, Mick?
Yeah, there's someone in their side very, very similar to what Adelaide did. Don't be surprised if this is the man I mentioned just earlier in Nate Caddy. Look, and you look on the screen there, so what they're essentially giving up is pick 10 Essendon and a future second round pick, pick 11 there, and a future second round pick to get up to pick 10. So if it is that type of player that they're looking at, it's someone that gives them something different. I think Essendon have got to find a point of difference. If they're going to take the next step, they've got a very good midfield, they've got some nice tools. It's got to be someone that provides a point of difference, and that's why, Joey, it could be a Nate Caddy.
So it's an extra pick for Geelong. Essentially, they'll have pick 31 in this draft tomorrow night. So they've obviously comfortable that the player that Essendon are going to take is not who they're after. They'll still get their man next, but they get an extra pick, which we know Geelong are also sort of trying to rebuild and replenish their list.
With pick 10, Essendon select Nate Caddy from the Northern Knights and the Yarrambat Junior Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for Essendon is Michael Hurley.
So strong-bodied and powerful as a forward, and midfield role can also be played by Nate Caddy. Of course, he is the nephew of two-time Premiership Tiger Josh Caddy. And, well, this is a different selection from the Bombers. We've seen them go for the tall, skinny runners. This guy is a more powerful build and is something that they're going to be able to work with alongside Langford and Peter Wright.
Yeah, you're spot on, Sarah. And I tell you what, you can say what you like about him. He's done it again, Adrian Dodoro. He is a genius when it comes to trade. He's got up, he's got his man, he's basically swapped a pick next to each other and given up a future second. This kid reminds me of Jake Stringer. That's the type of player. He's got an exceptional work ethic, desire to push through the midfield, but you mentioned the word power. That is one word you associate with him. He had 25 disposals and kicked 6 goals, 4 versus Bendigo during the year. So that gives you some idea of his want and desire to find the footy, ability to hit the scoreboard. And like I say, I mean, there's plenty of stuff that goes around, but Adrian Dodoro's done it again.
Yeah, I see him as a target man up forward, a marking player up forward that can also help out in the midfield. He kicked 39 goals for the year in underage footy, so he's a noted goal kicker. The 6 goals, the 4s, all those sorts of things happen. He had some wonderful games, and I reckon he can pitch hit through the middle, and we'll just find his future position in the next few years. Anthony Rocker's his coach out there at the Northern Knights, and does a great job with the taller players as well.
Yeah, so they're addressing their forward needs. Essendon, we know they've got Peter Wright as their big key forward, but now they've got a lot of those sort of mid-talls. When you talk about Jake Stringer and Cole Langford really came on this year. Nate Caddy, Harry Jones is one that we haven't seen the best of yet. So they've got plenty of sort of options around that 193, 192 sort of centimetre height that they can work with and find the best mix and the best combination. But also one, as the boys have touched on, potentially could go through the midfield a bit like Jake Stringer, take some centre bounce or get up around the footy and use his power.
Let's go and meet the new bomber. He's with Dicko.
Nate, another big roar from family and friends over there, but your uncle Josh Caddy, premiership player at Richmond's not here tonight. He'd be pretty happy for you. You're going to the Bombers.
Yeah, 100%. Wish you could have been here tonight, but yeah, I'm so excited. So excited.
What about you as a player? Describe yourself. I've got it written down, but I just want to make sure you know exactly what you are calling yourself.
So I'm 193 centimetres, so I'm a bit undersized as a key forward, so I call myself power forward. I like to make an impact in the forward line, and hopefully at the Bombers I can do the same thing.
I'll sum that up, Charlie Curnow, no pressure. You've had some great resources come and help you. Anthony Rocker with your goal kicking and that, so you've called on the experts early to obviously help you on the journey?
Yeah, well, Anthony Rocker was coaching us down at the Northern Knights this year, and yeah, he's been heaps of help this year with all that stuff. It was something I had to work on over the summer, so did that, got a lot better at it, and yeah, it's the big key factor was him, yeah.
What did you learn under Luke Power, Carlton VFL coach? You played 2 games this year. Was that a pretty good experience for you?
Yeah, he was unreal. Like I did a week at Carlton through the AFL Academy as well, and that was an unreal experience. But yeah, he was one of the main coaches I dealt with, and yeah, I learned a lot from him, and yeah, he's a great fella.
Going to be some great rivalry now with the uncle. Richmond and Essendon Dreamtime at the G. He's going to go and watch you in a stellar career, so well done, mate.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So Nate Caddy at the Essendon Football Club and pick number 10. Geelong with now pick number 11, so they've slid back 1 pick in the draft, and that pick is in, so we wait to see. But a lot of wheeling and dealing still to come.
With pick 11, Geelong select Connor O'Sullivan from the Murray Bushrangers and the Albury Junior Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for Geelong is Joel Selwood.
So Connor O'Sullivan, MVP in the title-winning Allies side. He had a sensational year.
Yeah, when he does stand up there, eventually, he's 198 centimetres. He's a big boy. He played centre-half back for the Murray Bushies, but because he's from Albury over the Murray River, he's eligible for the Allies, and that's where he became the MVP. He was a star and had really a breakout year. He played on the best of the tall forwards from around Australia and beat the lot to win that award as the MVP, All-Australian honours. So I think he's the biggest improver. Terrific athlete again. Again, just over the 6 minutes for the 2K. And we'll learn that backline role. He can also push forward too. He did that at times this year. So a wonderful young talent and a great reward for the year he's had.
Yeah, got a great footy head on his shoulders too, Sarah. His willingness and want to slingshot from defence is what, to me, really stood out. But in those moments...
Oh, what a moment, the number 14. Wow, Joel Selwood's number. How good. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful moment, and again, some big shoes to fill. But what I was saying, a lot of the players you can see that do want to counter-attack and slingshot can often overdo that. This guy really shows composure, and he can change his decision. He can really alter and let the game unfold in the moment and make smart decisions, Joey.
Well, really quickly, Geelong have replenished their back line. They lose Radigalia. They're uncharacteristically leaky in defence this year, but all of a sudden with Sam De Koning and Connor O'Sullivan as the two pillars for the next 10 to 12 years. It looks pretty exciting. They're both terrific intercept marks. They can use the ball well, and they've still got some, Jack Henry as well back there. So Geelong have stocked up in their key defensive stocks for the next 10 years.
And he lists Harris Andrews and Sam Taylor as the players he most admires. So good role models, that is for sure. Dicko.
Thank you, Sarah. Connor, Geelong's one thing, but to get the number 14 from the legend Joel Selwood presentation, that's pretty special.
Yeah, it's amazing. Joel's obviously a legend of the game, so to be presented the jumper by him's pretty special, yeah.
Good country boy, mate, up there at Albury. Your dad was a legend, Jamal, won Best and Fairest. He's over there. The whole family went nuts. How big a legend was he, your dad?
No, he went all right. Obviously, pretty well known around the Albury area. So, he's obviously been a big part of my footy journey. And everyone who sort of boarded me along the way, the whole Albury community's been amazing.
So being a Yarrawonga boy, I know what the Murray River's like. There's no more jet skiing and anything. You're going to sell your jet ski now?
I don't know. I think Riley, my little brother, just got his licence, so it'll be hard to convince him to let it go. But no, I definitely like getting out on the water. It's awesome. So hopefully down in Geelong, it's good enough weather to get out.
Well, you love your camping, your fishing. You've gone to the right club. You're down there. You can jump on Jez's boat. Jeremy Cameron at any stage, he'll take you fishing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Not really sure where I stand in position-wise, but to sort of, admire his game and now to sort of be alongside him it's a surreal feeling.
You developed finally massively this year. You put on 6 kilos, so it's been a huge year development for you.
Yeah, I've sort of tried to make that a focus. Obviously, the more sort of I've grown taller, the more, I suppose, putting on size has been, probably important. So that's definitely been an area that I've tried to focus on the last 2 years, probably.
And finally, what about your dad? What's the advice your dad always gives you?
Say yes to everything. So I'm pretty happy to be a part of this and, just take every opportunity as it comes.
Say yes to everything. I love it. Go and enjoy it. Well done.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And it is a big yes from Connor O'Sullivan to the Geelong Football Club. What a moment. And to be going into a club, Joey, that you know is just a strong club. I mean, obviously, premiers in recent times, but a strong, great organisation.
Yeah, he's just got role models to learn off as soon as he walks in the door, so it won't take him long to have an impact at AFL level.
With pick 12, the GWS Giants select Phoenix Gothard from the Murray Bushrangers and the Albury Tigers Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for GWS is Phil Davis.
So a genuine draft bolter.
An absolute bolter. In fact, invited himself down, a friend of Connor O'Sullivan, who come down as his guest.
Oh.
I did a bit of checking round and I said, look, in fact, you're a chance. You may, in fact, go this night. So his mother's come down with his sister. At the last minute decided to come down because he was a chance. More likely the second night, we said, so we didn't know. But what a great call. 2 Albury boys, best mates, have gone one after the other. What an amazing outcome for the for Phoenix for a start and for of course, a big Connor O'Sullivan.
Yeah, no, there were certainly some clubs that really rated Phoenix Gothard really highly. He's a player with talent in the front half. He can dazzle and weave and get out of trouble as well as anybody in this draft pool. He's a player that will probably have low possessions but maximum damage. He's a high quality over quantity type of guy. He's a high assist player. He's a forward half player. He's got some real tricks, and I'm sure Adam Kingsley and the group at the Giants have earmarked him as a player. We spoke about them going to get Toby Bedford, the impact that he had last year. They've got Brent Daniels as well, Toby Green, so they've already got some talent in that forward half, and they've gone and got someone for a specific need that they think can add to that part of their ground.
I think it's like Brent Daniels and like a Tommy Papley. That's what he is, creative up forward, and another Allies product from this year.
So we had him ranked at 30, so into 12 is a massive leap there. And, well, the Giants, we know, preliminary finalists, they've got a pretty good list at the moment.
With pick 13, Melbourne select Colton Tholstrup from Subiaco and the Newtown Condenup Football Club.
A powerful and explosive forward, and well, this is big. This is big. He was invited to the draft night tonight, but decided to spend it with his family and his friends over in the West.
Yeah, he was adamant he wanted to be with his family, and well done to Christian Dicton, the footy manager at Subiaco, and Bo Wardman, the coach. They played this young man in a high half forward role. It wasn't necessarily suited to his skill set. He's more that deep power forward, but he played the role really well, and it's going to hold him in good stead going forward. It was his 2K time trial, Joey, for mine. He went from potentially being that Cam Rayner type, which I thought he was, to them running 10th in the 2K time trial as 6 minutes and 17 seconds. I went, ooh, hang on a minute. Have we potentially got a Christian Petrarca, Jordan De Goey type of player? And for mine, that's what really set him up the charts. He's unique. He's chock full of power. Like I said, he's going to bring great character to the footy club, and, you know, it's a great result for this young fella to come up from the Esperance region.
And he's ready to go, Shifter.
I call him a hard-edged beauty. I don't give that one away too easy, those kids that really impress with their attack on the ball. You see them straight away in games. He'd missed the first game of the Nationals, and he come for the next. Within 10 minutes, he's dominating the game. Really had an impact coming up as that high half forward. Yeah, very strong at the footy, good overhead, and a great personality to boot.
And it feels, again, they've gone for a specific need. They went for the outside winger. Now they've gone for that link player that can help them with their forward connection.
And they made the trip down to Esperance recently as well, so we knew there was genuine intent from the Melbourne Footy Club and real genuine interest in this young man, because it's a long, long way away from Perth, and to make the trip over and go to that effort's outstanding. And, you know, for him to be with his family, I know, was really important. He lived up in Perth on his own in a unit, and he, don't ask me how, because him entertaining himself would have been very, very interesting if you're a fly on the wall in that unit.
So the Sydney Swans have the next pick. That is pick number 14. And, well, there's still some really big names left on the board. And we have Jake Rogers there, of course, part of the Gold Coast Suns Academy. So another bid pending. The Gold Coast Suns are very busy with this academy business tonight.
And expecting this one as well, no doubt, so they'll be ready to match the bid, and why wouldn't they? And this boy, I think Tuke Miller, just, you know, the way he plays, this boy is so similar. He plays what I call it zest and courage. He's just around the footy the whole time. He just hunts it, and you can't knock him off the ball. He's low to the ground, got great hands below the knees, and sets the play up with his creativity. Great teammate to have because of his unselfishness. Another boy that pushed through the Allies program, was a star for the Allies, making All-Australian during the year.
Great work ethic and a bit of a coach's dream, I understand.
Well, you think it'll suit Damien Hardwick that he had those mosquito fleet at Richmond when he had Lambert and Castagna and those type of players?
With pick 14, Gold Coast select Jake Rogers from the Gold Coast Suns Academy and the Broadbeach Cats Junior Football Club.
Presenting this jumper for the Gold Coast is Damien Hardwick.
So, Joey, as you touched on earlier, the Suns have been able to collect a range of players in different roles for Damien Hardwick to use.
And while, I mean, eventually he may be able to play as a permanent midfield, you'd think early in his career, Shifter, he'd start as that half forward and maybe in the forward half and be one of those ground level players. I mean, we spoke about the talent of a forward line now of Ben King, Jed Walter, you know, Bailey Humphrey and Jack Lukosius, and having someone like him at ground level with his agility and be able to sort of zip in and out, it's starting to look pretty potent, and I think he's going to be a big hit for the Gold Coast fans. I think he can play pretty much straight away. I think he's a player that can step in round one next year.
And a good indicator of that, he won the medal that Harley Reid won in the game against Port Adelaide when the Australian team played Carlton, okay, at Marvel Stadium. 26 disposals in the midfield and pushing forward. Was best on the ground in that game. A fantastic indication of his preparedness or his willingness potentially to play early next year.
And he's a tackler, so that's why he'll fit in the front half. He can get after the opposition with that pressure and try and lock the ball in there under Damien Hardwick's new system at the Gold Coast Suns.
A third academy pick in the top 14. That is stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and fantastic credit to the Gold Coast Suns. What I love about him, and you watch the vision here, he takes ground. He's got that face-forward approach, and he's only going one way, and that's to head into that forward 50. Played in a senior grand final at Broadbeach at the age of 16 as well. But like you say, Joey, he'll look to build his tank, but he is an elite tackler, so his pressure in that forward half is going to be absolutely imperative in the Gold Coast Suns becoming victorious in 2024.
And that comparison just came up there to Zach Bailey. He's got that ability to break in, to go from the inside to the outside. We speak about so often, to have impact and to be able to hit the scoreboard and set up plays inside 50. So I think he's an absolute beauty.
All right, let's go and chat to Jake. Dicko's alongside him.
Jake, you've been in the Gold Coast Academy from 13, so you know the place inside out, and you finally get there. It's pretty rewarding for yourself.
Yeah, it's so special to do with all my family that you just saw there. It's huge, and yeah, so proud to be officially a Gold Coast Suns player.
Got a couple of nice mentors, Tuke Miller and Noah Anderson. No slouches to give you advice on your little journey.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to do the pre-season there with them, and yeah, they taught me a few things here and there, but yeah, unreal players and unreal mentors for me.
You know, when you're drafted, you just got to drop the team you barrack for. The whole family's mad Collingwood, so you're celebrating an unbelievable premiership. So how's this going to go down?
Yeah, going to have to convert them to the Suns now. Yeah.
And some talented kids need to choose their sport. You played rugby league as a fullback. So were you serious about it, or was it a bit of a choice for you to go to the AFL?
Nah, I wasn't overly serious. It was a bit more through school. Played a bit of rugby league and translated a little bit with my tackling and stuff, but nah, it's just through school.
Model your game on the Zach Butters and those players in the world?
Yeah, Zach Butters and the Tuke Miller, the short sort of burst players that can burst out of the stoppage with clean hands. That's my sort of players that I mould myself about.
Congratulations, Gold Coast Suns, Jake. It's going to be great for you, mate. Well done.
Cheers, Digo. Thanks, mate.
And the ability of the Suns Academy boys to be able to train with the senior team, which he was able to do last summer, it just sets them up for a successful transition.
Yeah, it does, Sarah. And hopefully the viewers too can start to understand, when we saw the picks come up, why the clubs now need to acquire those picks to be able to match bids and the points, and what it does in terms of pushing them out in the draft a little bit. So hopefully it starts to make a little bit more sense. Can be complicated, but you're right. To your point about them getting into that elite environment, I'm sure it makes a huge difference, and we're really starting to see the clubs reap the benefits of getting these young men in over the course of their 17th and 18th year and giving them that exposure to an AFL club.
Sydney Swans have about 25 seconds left on the clock, and we can see the remaining players there, and there's some top-end talent. Joey, what are they looking for, the Swans?
Well, we're not exactly sure. There's been some talk that maybe a young ruckman. All the rucks are still in the draft there at the moment. We know they've got Brodie Grundy that'll absolutely be a pick for the next couple of years, but maybe they'll look to the future, but there's still plenty of talent on that board.
And they are a club that has done it so well for so long as well, Shifter. The Sydney Swans have a remarkable record when it comes to the draft.
Yeah, and Ken Beatson's been looking after that for quite a number of years. He'd been, of course, at Brisbane prior to that. Very experienced list manager, recruiter. With a great team. Simon Dalrymple, Ross Monaghan, I can see in their group. John Longmire, of course. One of the great coaches in our game.
You know what I love about the couple of guys you just mentioned, Shifter, in Kinnear and Simon? They actually do hold clubs to account. So if there's a player that they really like, that's a father-son or an academy player, they will bid on them and make them pay fair value. And both of those guys have got two of the great poker faces going around. So
that's
interesting to see what the Swans come up with at pick 15.
And they've done exactly what you were predicting with Jordan Croft, who is a father-son for the Western Bulldogs. They have bid. and athletic, tall, and of course his father Matthew played 186 games for the Doggies.
Well, a son of a gun. We love the sons of guns. The father-son rule goes back to the Barassis way back in the 50s, and it's part of our game, the Ablets and the Dacosses. Gee, it'll remain part of our game, I think, but they've got a bid on a beauty here in terms of Moyer 200 that moves so quickly. He's a super athlete. His hands are just so, just one touch. He's got a good kick at goal too, an accurate kick at goal. I've seen him kick multiple goals on many occasions, and he's fairly new to the game. He's been in volleyball and sort of tossing up whether he's going to really do footy, but then ends up having an outstanding year.
With pick 15, the Western Bulldogs select Jordan Croft from the Calder Cannons and the Maribyrnong Park Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for the Western Bulldogs is Lindsay Gilby.
Yeah, it's interesting too, isn't it? When I watched him play, I loved it. He was at his most dangerous from that sort of 40 metres to 70 metres out. He's a beautiful kick of the footy on the run, and his ability from outside 50 is first class. Another one shifter that ran fourth in the 2K time trial, just over 6 minutes, and another guy that's over 200 centimetres. It starts to make you wonder too, Joey. You've got Rory Lobb, Sam Darcy, Aaron Norton, Jamara Ugle-Hagan. Where do these guys fit?
Yeah, well, they'll take time. And Jordan Croft will take time, I would think, to develop into a really elite AFL player. And he's got the time, doesn't he, Shifter? They've got the luxury of not having to rush him into the side. You mentioned the names, Mick, that they've already got playing. Sam Darcy's going to come along. So he can just take his time, find his feet, build a body, and hopefully become an elite AFL forward.
So proud history with the Western Bulldogs continues, Shifter.
Yeah, and of course, up forward, Jordan Dad was mainly down back. He kicked 33 goals for the year, so I loved that indication. We heard that he'd made the decision to come to football about 12 months ago. So, of course, you know the father's career at least, and you look to see how the boy starts. And straight away, he looked AFL type, straight away with that speed, the size, and kicking bags of goals in a row. So Maribyrnong Secondary College has helped him with his development, a boy from the Calder Cannons.
A brilliant moment for Jordan Croft as he joins the Western Bulldogs, and an interesting time for the Doggies at the moment, Joey, on where they're going to head. As you said, patience is required with some of these young players, and he'll get the chance to be able to develop as we head to Dicko, who has Jordan with him.
Jordan, finally a Doggie, 12 years. When you were 12, you joined the academy for the father-son. It's been a big journey, and this year you spent a week at the Doggies as well, so you know the place inside out.
Yeah, it's really exciting to join that club that you've been involved with from such a young age. But yeah, just can't wait to get stuck into it.
Yeah, Matty Croft, your old man, a fine footballer, used to punch me in the back of the head, a really hard defender. Did he ever show you his highlights? You watch him and go, right, now I want to play forward. Is that how you got into the forward line?
Yeah, he showed a few clips through COVID. I think things got quiet around the house. So he showed a few videos. So it's good to watch how he played and just implement that into the game, I guess. So yeah.
And you got the height, you got the engine. 6 minutes for 2Ks, not bad going for a man your size.
Yeah, it's a pretty good attribute to have as a tall forward. Not everyone can do it, so yeah, great attribute to my game.
What are the advice, in all seriousness? Is Matty your dad? Does he critique your games pretty hard, or does he sit back and just let the coaches do their thing? How does he give you feedback?
Yeah, he stays quite reserved, but he's definitely quite involved with my footy, which I've absolutely loved throughout my whole career. So he's been great for me, and seeking resource from him.
Well, it's a great moment for you. You're a Doggie. It's been a long time coming, but it's here now. So go and enjoy it with your family and friends.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to Jordan Croft and his family. You can see his proud dad, Matthew, there, and a magical moment as his footballing dream comes true. Headed to the Western Bulldogs with pick number 15. We've got pick 16 for the Sydney Swans, who put the bid in. Let's see what they're doing.
With pick 16, Sydney select Will Green from the Northern Knights and the Northcote Junior Football Club.
Look at that reaction. That is pure excitement. Will Green and his family and friends, an athletic ruckman with good endurance and a Victoria pathway fast bowler, a handy cricketer shifter.
Yeah, very good cricketer, one that had to make a decision. We don't mind that. Keep playing until you've got to make the decision, which would be once you get to your 18th year, work out which way you want to go. And this boy had a great year. He with Ethan Reid with the two All-Australian ruckman. He's 204 centimetres, so people that need to convert that, well, it's 6'8", that's big. He's broad, he's got a great ruck craft already. He stands under the ball. I love the way, with his courage, he's prepared to take whatever's coming behind him. He's a one grabber. He kicks the ball very well for a big boy as well. He's had a fantastic year. Got a great natural leap about him too, so he gets up to that absolute peak at centre bounces. And again, coached by Pebbles there in Anthony Rocker at the Northern Knights.
A real genuine ruck. He's probably the most well-built out of all the rucks in the draft pool, but doesn't necessarily mean he's ready to go straight away. He's got a couple of years to learn behind Brodie Grundy and work on his craft, but the Sydney Swans will be pleased that they've got a developing important ruckman.
And we thought that they were going to do that, didn't we? There was a lot of talk about Sydney targeting the ruck.
Yeah, the guys that have done the Phantom drafts, they've been comfortable with a few of them. They've been happy. The Phoenix Gothard one caught them by surprise, but the Will Green one, a few people thought that they understood the Swans were after a young ruck.
And the cricket story is a great one, isn't it? We love it when we've got these talented sportsmen being able to pursue their dream.
We love it even more when they choose football too, Sarah. So that's half the battle. But you mentioned, Joey, about the time. He's got a great teacher in Brodie Grundy. Brodie's one of the most beautiful people you'll come across in terms of wanting to develop and help and teach others. And you know, his confidence, Will Green overhead, and his ability to be a one-grab player was what impressed me. And I know he will. He'll take a little bit of time, as the tools do, but I just felt when I looked at this pool, he looked to be a little bit further ahead than what the other tools did in terms of his development. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him come in and probably have an impact a little bit earlier than what maybe one or two of the others potentially will have.
Starting ruck in the Team of the Year as well, Shifter. So some good accolades for him in this year.
Yeah, the Coates Team of the Year. So that's the team made up of the Victorian Coates League sides, Tasmania as well. So that's 13 teams that comprise that Coates Talent League, and it's been very productive already in the draft.
Joey, your old team, St Kilda, are up next. All eyes on them and what they're planning on doing.
Yeah, we've spoken. It's an important draft for St Kilda to continue to get the young stocks in there. There's actually been a lot of names linked to St Kilda that are still available. I've heard Riley Hardiman, who was a St Kilda supporter growing up, I think, who's there as a dashing halfback. Darcy Wilson's name, Lance Collard, the small forward from over in Western Australia, and even DiMartio. They've all been linked to St Kilda. There's a lot of talk. They want to get that outside run and class to complement the midfield that they've got at the moment, and we can see Stephen Silvani working the phones, maybe taking offers. Just interesting to see what they'll do.
Yeah, and another name, Joey, too, James Leake, still on the board. He was heavily linked to clubs inside the top 10, so he's an elite talent that's still there waiting to be taken. But some of the names you mentioned, and Riley Hardiman, I mean, I think there'll be some absolute hearts racing in that household because Dad Andy is a mad St Kilda supporter, and it would make all of his dreams come true if if Riley's name was to be called out. But look, the amount of talent that's still on the board, and we're at pick 17, and that's why I spoke about it early on in the show, that there is still so much depth in this draft and so many quality players available.
And they've just shifted back. They've done a trade with the GWS Giants, Shifter.
Well, the Giants must really fancy someone still on the board here. Could it be Darcy Wilson, a boy from up at the Murray area? They tend to, of all the clubs, target positions, or have done in recent years, ahead of what some of the other clubs might just go on best talent.
Or maybe it is still James Leake, who we spoke about, that where they were linked to inside the top 10. They can still get that player at 17, and St Kilda, for moving back one spot in the draft, are going to get a future second rounder for next year. So they can continue to acquire some draft picks and continue to build their young talent.
And Stephen Silvani we saw there, and Gubby Allen dealing with their old mob, the Orange Tsunami. But you're right, Joey, this is the beauty of the draft. So James Leake, who was heavily linked to GWS inside 10, if they've got the opportunity now to pick him up at pick 17, if it is him, then again, these are the genuine romance stories of AFL football and the surprise packets of drafting.
With pick 17, the GWS Giants select James Leake from the Tasmania Devils and the Launceston Football Club.
Presenting this jumper for the Giants is Phil Davis.
So a bit of a steal for the GWS Giants, and he was able to play as an intercept defender, as a forward, as a midfield. This is a genuine utility.
Of course, James Leake, Mr. Fix at AFL.com called him, and he is Mr. Fix. He's got a back pocket plumber. He is a pretty special player. Made All-Australian as the defender, but then late in the year went forward, kicked a bag of 5, a 4, and it looks to have some real uncanny ability. Very special ability. Even in the final, he was pushed into the midfield. So he is growing in confidence. Another boy from Launceston, which is great news for Tassie to see a boy like that unfold. Again, an Allies boy. I'll have to count those quickly in a minute as to how many Allies boys have got through to date. And that's a testimony to the work that Mark McVeigh has done that coached the Allies side. But of course, Jeremy Webberley is the coach of the Tassie Devils. And so he'd be rapt to see so many of his boys getting through already.
We've spoken the old-fashioned utility, can play anywhere. It'd be interesting to see where the GWS Giants think he can play, because they're stacked in their back half with all their talent already. Do they think he's at that intercept defender type, a bit like a Tom Doedee who can do that role, or do they think he's someone that can add a bit of class to their front half? I suppose what's interesting about the Giants selections too is they went up and got Gothard at 12 and were lucky to get Leake and had to give up a future second round to get him at 17. You just wonder whether they might have been able to get Gothard anyway at pick 17 and have taken James Leake at 12, but it doesn't matter. They've got, I'm sure, the players they're after, and as you can see there, Mick, a really consistent, reliable player who can do it all over the ground.
Yeah, he's ticked every box, hasn't he? If you look at that scout profile, his ratings are of the highest order. And I spoke to another club that interviewed him, and they could not rave about him anymore. They said he was one of the best kids that they interviewed throughout this draft process. So character is king, as the great Peter Sumich, I know, he's a big fan of that particular phrase, and that's what they've got here. They've got an outstanding person.
A star interviewer. Let's see how he is with our star interviewer, Dicko.
James, a big moment for you. It's been an interesting year. You bolted up the draft order this year. So tell us about so far in your journey.
Yeah, it's been a pretty surreal year, to be honest. Sort of last year played TSL footy down at Lonnie, which was really good for my development and helped me a lot. And then sort of gave me the confidence coming into this year in Coach League that I'd be a shot, hopefully getting drafted. So just super excited and very grateful to be in the position I am, yeah.
And you played in a premiership last year with Lonnie at 16.
Yeah, it was a pretty good year. Sort of lots of sort of senior role models, like played under dudes like with Jackson Thurlow, Mitch Thorpe, Joby Harperville, all got good experience at senior level. So those dudes sort of took me under their wing and really looked after me, so I'm very grateful for it, yeah.
And I love the boys that play different sports. You're a gun cricketer, I'm told. Is that true?
I got all right. I sort of, from the age of sort of 13 to 16, I was really into that. That was probably number one. And then sort of last year, obviously playing TSL, sort of footy took over a little bit more, which I'm pretty happy with how it's ended up, yeah.
Mate, where's the irony in this? Your last name's Leake. Shifters calling you Mr. Fix-It. You can play anywhere, but your versatility is one super strength that the Giants are going to be pretty happy with.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's sort of something just all through juniors. I just played lots of, in all thirds of the ground, and then sort of coming into this year, that sort of put me in a good position to impact games wherever I play, which has sort of held me in good stead, yeah, for sure.
And success follows you. Last year, Premiership, the Allies Championship. This year was the first. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience playing with the Allies boys. Obviously, with people who come from, I guess, all around Australia, sort of play with all the other academies, and obviously going undefeated was a really cool experience and something that, treasure for sure.
Third Tassie boy to go tonight. Well done, James. Enjoy that one.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
A third Tasmanian picked tonight, and it's been a marvellous night for Tasmanian football. We'll discuss that even a little bit later.
With pick 18, St Kilda select Darcy Wilson from the Murray Bush Rangers and the Wangaratta Rovers Football Netball Club.
Presenting the jumper for St Kilda is Robert Harvey.
Well, that's going to be a special moment, isn't it? The legend that is Robert Harvey presenting the jumper to Darcy Wilson, who can play at wing or half forward. Great football IQ.
And very appropriate because Rob Harvey was the running man. This kid's known as the running man. If you can match some of Rob's feats, what an unbelievable player he was. This boy had a great year, won the Best and Fairest Cup there at the Murray Bush Rangers. A super athlete. His dad, in fact, Nick, was just embracing his son over. He's the talent manager at the Murray Bush. He was very well known up in the others in Murray. He's a terrific player himself. And this boy debuted at 16 years of age for that great club, the Wang Rovers as well. So always been a star on the rise and had a great year this year.
Rob Harvey, I'll tell you what, good luck breaking his records and keeping up with him. He was an absolute beast. But look, this kid, what I love about Darcy Wilson, he reminds me a little bit of Elliot Yeo in the way he plays, and he does the simple things very, very well. Look at his athletic profile, Joey. He tested first in the running vertical jump, 6th in the standing vertical jump, 2nd in the 2K time trial and 8th in the agility. So I don't think there was an athletic box he actually didn't tick.
No, he's a freak athlete, as you've touched on. He's a smooth mover. And I know Ross Lyon loves blokes that can run. He wants guys that can run. It's the modern game. I mean, now you're going to have Brad Hill on one wing half forward and Darcy Wilson on the other that are both line breakers, outside players that can use the ball really well and can get up and back. So he's the prototype of the modern sort of wing half forward, a little bit like Isaac Smith as well.
Yeah.
And he's got some real polish about him, Shifter.
Well, my player comparison, when he plays wing, was Sam Walsh. So you can't get a bigger rap than that.
So he was a standout at the draft combine. Shifter, how much emphasis do clubs put on the testing that is done there? Is it just the icing on top of the cake, or is it a big fundamental part?
I think it's the icing on the cake, the last 15%. It confirms what they've observed. They know the kid can run. This proves it. They've got something to say that's very objective.
All right, can't wait to hear from him, Dicko.
Darcy, I'm going to say you're relieved, but that chant your family and friends gave you something special for you?
Yeah, pretty exciting for me and yeah, everyone that's involved. So yeah, awesome night and awesome experience.
Mate, growing up in the country, Wangaratta, you're just surrounded by good footballers and coaches. Darren Creswell's coached you in your junior career and obviously passed on plenty to help you on your journey.
Yeah, had heaps of really good coaches through juniors. Obviously, yeah, Crezza been through the system and he's given me some great advice on what it takes to get to the next level, and then also back at Murray, really good coaches, so yeah, happy with that.
And you model your game, Sam Walsh, Connor Rosey, those sort of players?
Yeah, love the way Sam Walsh plays with his work rate and his ability to get to every contest, so love watching him play, and yeah, Connor Rosey is exciting to watch as well.
Bit of footy in your family too. Mick Nolan, the galloping gasometer, he'd be full of advice, wouldn't he?
Yeah, Mick's obviously a different player to what I am, but yeah, he had an awesome career at North Melbourne, so yeah, hopefully I can do the same as what he did.
And you've developed a lot this year, 9 kilos in a year is a lot of weight. Some couldn't carry that in the Melbourne Cup, but you've done it this year and got drafted.
Yeah, it's something I've been working on pretty hard this year, so yeah, to put on a bit of size was something that I was working on, and yeah, got there eventually.
And your last one, it's good for country kids to come and at least taste what it's like in the city, and you spent a week at Richmond. How was that?
Yeah, it's a pretty eye-opening experience walking in at Richmond with the likes of Dustin Martin, Trent Koch and Jack Grewalt. So went in and tried to learn as much as I could, and it was an awesome experience.
You're now a state, congratulations.
No, thank you. Cheers.
Brilliant. So Darcy Wilson lands at the St Kilda Football Club. Shifter, how quickly did they get these players into the club and into the regime of being an AFL footballer?
Wednesday or Thursday? That's fair. Tomorrow. They might wait till the rookie draft Wednesday and then let you come Thursday, but it won't be long. Maybe if it's interstate, it might be next Monday, but very, very quickly. These boys are ready for that. They're dying to get there as quickly as they can.
What's that like the first time you walk through the club doors?
Oh yeah, it's intimidating, absolutely. But these players are prepared, they're ready, and they'll fit straight in and just get to work, put their head down, bum up, and do the work and earn the respect of the playing group.
Who was the most daunting, Joey, when you first walked through?
The first person I met was Stuart Lowe, and I shook his hand. And that was, they had the big buckets, the massive hands. That was pretty daunting. But North Melbourne now, this is the time where they've got 3 picks coming up out of the next 4. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. We believe they probably need to start getting some tall key defenders, maybe a backup ruck, and there's the bid for a tall defender in Will McCabe,
who is a father-son of Hawthorn. So we're waiting to see whether Hawthorn will match that bid. Luke, 138 Hawk, who currently sits as the club's football director. So, well, Hawthorn better match this or there'll be strife.
Yeah, and when you talk about the Hawks and their ability to trade and those sorts of things, you know, I remember back Josh Weddle, who they went very, very hard for in that particular draft of recent times, and there was, I guess, some questions probably over where he was going to get to. He now looks like he's going to be a star. So, you know, the Hawks, I'm sure they match this bid, as we see on the screen there. They lose a couple of picks in the 40s, pushes them out to 73. But again, they'll still have the capacity, if they want, to trade some future picks to get back in earlier in this draft if there's still something on the board that they like.
I've loved his development, young Will McCabe, in the last 12 months. He actually played as an overage player in the under-16 Nationals last year. You need approval as a 17-year-old. The developing tool normally gets approved, and was one of their best players in that. And then by this year, he's become a star, grew in confidence, stood on heads.
With pick 19, Hawthorn select William McCabe from Central District and the Tanunda Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for Hawthorn is Michael Tarr.
So what a moment for Will McCabe, a brilliant moment in a young man's life, and to be able to do that with your family and friends looking on. He had a bit of a frustrating second half of the year, but this is the brilliant end to it that he would have been hoping for.
Michael Tuck once again there. Yeah, I liken him to Jordan Ridley, you know, the guy that reads it so well as the intercept marker across half-back. A one-touch player. He can also, when the opportunity comes, jump up their backs too. I like that as a feature of his game. He's quite confident that he can mark it when he's a little bit out of position, and some of the marks he took this year were pretty special.
Yeah, and this father-son has come at the right time, because we know they need to fill some stocks in their key defence. There's been a lot of reliance on James Sicily over the last couple of years. They're still hoping that Denver, Granger, Barras can come on, but they do need to fill this void, and maybe that's why there was talk about, you know, Dan Curtin earlier in the draft, maybe why they overlooked him and went for Nick Watson instead, knowing they had Will McCabe coming through. Might take a little bit of time, but certainly got all the attributes of the modern intercept defender. Loves marking the footy and running in it at a really good height.
All right, let's head out to Ben Dixon. Dicko, am I correct in saying you used to share a house with William's dad?
Yes, I used to live with Will's dad, Luke. Mr. Positivity, we used to call him, because he wasn't short of giving you feedback, and very direct feedback. You're now a Hawk. That's pretty special, keeping it in the family.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lots of words. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but finally here.
I wasn't joking. What sort of advice does your dad give, Luke? Because he's very strong on it as a player and post-footy, but give us some advice that he's passed on.
You could say it's pretty direct, pretty to the point. Never need to say much, but it's always enough. So it's just kind of straight down the point. Just get out there and get a kick. Forget about the rest, kind of thing. Yeah.
I know the positive one in the household's your mum, Jude. She's over there, the family to celebrate. Like, it's a big moment. You know, father-son's a chance, and for the bid to come through and to celebrate with family.
Yeah, it's super special. I think Dad's been the best at keeping a lid on it, but the likes of my mums, my siblings, my friends, yeah, all very excited for me.
And I know you've got his competitive edge, because at Easter the McCabes line up, and Luke's done it ever since you could walk and run. You line up for the family sprint, and he'd never let anyone win. He tries hardest. Do you beat him now?
Yeah, no, I think we're all 5, 6, 7, very young, and Dad wouldn't hold back, and he'd beat us every time. He was pretty chuffed with himself, but took as many as his wins as he could, because since then he hasn't been able to get back out. Calf, hamstring, and knee. He's got all kinds of injuries. So this year I don't know if he'll get up for it again. I'm hoping I can get maybe my first win.
And he's a footy director at the footy club now, so he knows where the direction of the football club's going. You've spent some time at the Hawks, and you spent some time with Sam Mitchell. How's Sam in terms of his wise work?
Sam and Dad are pretty similar. Quite dry, quite. You never know whether they're being sarcastic or not, and I might have gotten the bad end of that one time. But no, they've looked after me a lot. Really exciting to see where the club's going. A lot of young talent. So yeah, very exciting times.
So happy for you, Will. You're a Hawk. The old man was a gun player, so continue the tradition.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Beautiful stuff. Well done to Will, and some great stories of family competitiveness at Easter time. Love that.
With pick 20, North Melbourne select Taylor Goad from South Adelaide and the Wollonga Football Club.
This one's a really good story. Had planned to play college basketball and at the last minute switched to football, and boy, it's paid off.
Well, he's a big boy. He's 206 centimetres, 6'9" in the old, and it was in the pre-season that one of the club scouts said to me, I've just seen a boy over here playing at South Adelaide. He's not in the state squad. You better get him in. And look, I thought that Tony Bamford and their team would find him pretty quickly. They did, and he played all the games of the National Championship. And he's a freak as an athlete. 2.96 for 20. 206 centimetre boys don't do that. So he's got that ability at ground level to really run after it, gather it, and set it up. He played a premiership with South Adelaide this year at under-18 level. Mark Clayton working with him, their coach and talent manager. So a real big improver, and one for the long term for North Melbourne.
Yeah, I'm with you, Shifter. There's a lot to work with this particular kid. He's very raw, got a huge amount of upside. He can go forward as well. He kicked a very smart goal versus Vic Country, which was impressive. And interesting too, he was heavily linked to the Adelaide Crows in the lead up to this draft. So whether the Kangaroos knew that, wanted to go after a ruckman, and obviously with the Crows picking next at 21, took their opportunity to get their man.
All right, let's go and meet Taylor now. He is joining us live via Zoom. Congratulations, Taylor. A dream come true, no doubt. How are you feeling in this moment?
Yeah, obviously really overwhelmed. Didn't really think I'd be here at this time, and it's unbelievable to think that this had happened this time last year. If someone said that I was going to get drafted next year, I wouldn't believe it at all.
So talk to us a little bit about your basketball background and when you made the decision that football was going to be the number one sport.
Yeah, so I've always played footy and basketball, and last year I was just playing footy and basketball for school, and sort of was in my ag class with my best mate Tom Wheat, and he said that you should come out to South Adelaide, so I was all right. Yeah, right. So got on to Mark Clayton, the talent manager, and then sort of made a decision to quit basketball in November last year and start at South Adelaide pre-season, and just went from there.
And have you spoken at North Melbourne, Taylor? Did you know they were keen, and how are you going to go moving away from home, moving down to Melbourne?
Yeah, spoken to them. Obviously met Alistair Clarkson. He was an absolute awesome bloke, and loved chatting to him. And I think I'm really excited to move away from home and ready for that step in my life, and I'm really keen to see what the future holds, and can't wait for this opportunity.
Taylor, any AFL ruckman of today that you've modelled your game on at all?
Yeah, definitely. I like the likes of Tom de Koning and Max Gawn. Really like watching them, and Max Gawn's probably my favourite ruckman in the AFL at the moment, and watched a fair bit of him this year.
Taylor, who have you got in the room with you? Who are you celebrating alongside?
I just got my parents, my two best mates, my girlfriend, and my sister.
Good times. Well, you enjoy yourself tonight. Not too much though, because you've got a very serious job as an AFL footballer ahead of you. Well done. Thank you so much for joining us on Fox Footy. We look forward to watching your career with great interest.
Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Well done, mate. Brilliant stuff. Taylor Goad going to the North Melbourne Football Club.
Unbelievable speed for his size. You've never seen a 206 centimetre guy cover the ground like this kid can. So he's going to be exciting, and we presume the ground like this kid can. So he's going to be exciting. And we presumed that North Melbourne would take a risk with someone with some upside, and they've certainly done that. He could be anything. Another one of these modern-day unicorns, Shifter, that are over 200 centimetres that are all freak athletes.
It is amazing.
Clarko looks pretty pleased as well. As you said, some interest from Adelaide. So jumping ahead, Adelaide, of course, have pick number 21, which is next up in the draft. And still some incredible talent, some highly rated talent left in this draft pool at the moment. Mick, what do you think they're thinking here? Where are they going?
Yeah, look, full credit to what Hamish Ogilvie and coach Matty Nix have been able to do at the Adelaide Crows, and they look like a real genuine team on the rise. I think they'll probably look to add some midfield depth. I think, as we've mentioned, you're probably in need of a key forward at some stage too.
With pick 21, the Adelaide Crows select Charlie Edwards from the Sandringham Dragons and the Sandhurst Junior Football Club.
Mad scenes there. I believe we're at a pub in Bendigo, and Shifter, what a moment. Headed to the Adelaide Crows, Charlie Edwards.
Well, we've got a draft bolter here. We have a boy from Sandhurst who's down at Melbourne Grammar. In fact, a teammate of Riley Sanders there at Melbourne Grammar in footy. But it was in the middle of the year when the Nationals are on. This boy wasn't playing for Vic Country. That he started to shine with the Sandringham Dragons. We started to hear about the name. And of course, once the Nationals are over, we get back to see what they were talking about. We can see pretty quickly this 191 centimetre midfielder, can play in defence as well. He looked like an AFL player straight away. Just his run with the ball. He linked up magnificently, kicked it well. So it all the shape and type of a future player. And again, a boy that had maybe played a bit more of the cricket, was a footy cricket kid, but all of a sudden realised he might have the talent to play and end up a premiership player with the Sandringham Dragons by the end of the year. And although not at the National Combine where the best 65 kids were, his form in the last month was super.
All right, let's meet Charlie now, who is now an AFL footballer. Charlie, you've got all your mates there. It looks like an absolute time. What are the emotions you're experiencing at the moment? Is this your dream coming true?
Yeah, it is. I've got all the people here that care about me and the support I've just had. I think you guys just saw it. Yeah, it's awesome. Can't put it into words.
So we're calling you a bit of a draft bolter. Can you talk to us about your dealings with the clubs and whether you had any inkling this was on the table?
Yeah, I've got it a bit the last couple of months. Yeah, probably my attention, the nature of my year. I came a bit later and, yeah, I think the opportunities I had later in the year, and I think I have come a bit later, but yeah, it's worked out at the end of the day.
Congratulations, Charlie. You played a bit of halfback and then you went into the midfield. Where do you sort of see yourself as an AFL player down the track? Where do you think will be your best position?
I'd love to develop long-term as a midfielder. I know you're not going to come into the AFL and be playing midfield, but I think that's probably one of my strengths, being versatile and playing anywhere, whether it be half-back, half-forward or in the midfield.
Hey, congratulations, Charlie. A remarkable effort, mate. Just in terms of your pathway, and I had some notes here that you'd taken a similar journey to like a Clayton Oliver who was late coming onto the scene as a draftable player. Just as a message, mate, for the kids that don't necessarily come through a traditional pathway, what would you say to them and advice would you have for them to get to the point that you're obviously at now and being an AFL player?
Yeah, I'd just say keep working, keep backing yourself, and your work will get noticed eventually, whether it be like me in the back half of the year or in your bottom age year or whenever it is. I think just back yourself in and keep working hard.
What about the prospect of moving across to Adelaide? You've obviously moved to Melbourne for some schooling from the Bendigo region. Are you excited by the prospect of moving over to South Australia?
Yeah, we were just making a joke. Adelaide's a bit of a big Bendigo, so I think it'd be a pretty easy move. It'll be all right.
Lots of country kids do very well in Adelaide, a nice laid-back attitude. Talk to us about your dreams for the future. What do you want to get out of your AFL career? How big can you think at this point in time?
Yeah, I don't want to think too big, but I'd like to play in some finals. Grand final day is the biggest day. And yeah.
Now, Charlie, you come from a very famous sporting family in Bendigo, the Edwards family. I thought they're cricketers rather than footballers, or a bit of both, but the decision to play your footy over the cricket?
Yeah, I think the cricket's been talked up a bit too much. I wasn't the greatest cricketer. I get to talk up a bit much with the footy, but yeah, footy's always been the main sport over cricket.
Well, Charlie, we are so thrilled for you tonight and all your family and friends. Enjoy this special moment. We can't wait to see you run out for the Adelaide Crows in the not-too-distant future.
Thanks, guys.
Well done. Charlie Edwards, an Adelaide Crow, and he's a bit of a media star already.
Yes.
Very polished performer.
He does speak well indeed, and congratulations to him. As we said, just one that kept working at it. His game improved and still quite raw as a midfielder, but he's got all the attributes. We spoke about his size at 191, his athleticism, his ability to drive with his legs and get in and out of traffic. So it's a bit of a long-term project. We've seen it work with Jordan Dawson, something similar at the Adelaide Crows, so I'm sure they'll be hoping he can follow a similar path as a half-backer through the midfield as a big body.
And perhaps on the phone to the coach now as he wanders out of shot there.
Yeah, we see Matty Nix walk out. Maybe he's calling reinforcements because Charlie's just said he wants to play in a grand final.
With pick 22, North Melbourne select Will Dawson from the Gippsland Power and the Leon Gaffer Junior Football Club.
Another draft bolter. We've had a few of them tonight, and we did say beforehand that this could be quite the unpredictable draft. Will Dawson found his niche in defence in the back half of this year, and very raw, born in December, but is 200 centimetres shifter, so has got something to work with, that's for sure.
Yeah, those points you make are very important. Not 18 until December. He's a baby. He's grown another 20 centimetres in the last couple of years. Another one of those late spurts. He played forward and ruck in the trial matches early in the year for Vic Country, but then was switched to defence and looked quite a natural then in defence. One grab, made great decisions with the ball on the way out as well. And a boy from Leon Gather, a great area for footy down there inland of Latrobe Valley of Country, Victoria.
Same junior club as the great Jared Roughhead, so a good story there.
Yeah, I really liked his ability to read the ball in deep defence. You mentioned shifter, he can play in the ruck and forward, but it was in defence where he played that, and I know we've mentioned him a couple of times, but that Harris Andrews type role, ability to win the ball back, and he just looks like a very, very well put together player. Another one over 200 centimetres and a beautiful field kick too, Joey.
And loves to tackle and compete. I think he had 10 tackles in a game as a 200 centimetre defender, so he loves to get down and dirty. Again, they've addressed the need here, the Kangaroos. We know that they need to get some key defenders. Whether they try Charlie Common as a defender next year will be interesting as well, but Will Dawson is one that might have to step up and play pretty soon, but looking forward to seeing his progress.
So North Melbourne with pick number 22. They also have pick number 23. Is it just me or are those polos very Carlton? They don't really look like North Melbourne, do they?
They've gone quite dark with the blue.
Navy blue.
It was the royal blue sort of last year, wasn't it?
Blue
really
bagger vibes. Anyway, minor thing.
So we can see, as we spoke about with North Melbourne, they went with the two best players early in the draft, the midfielder and the sort of mid-forward type player in Dersma. Now, as we suspected, they've gone with the talls and they've taken some punts on some developing players that could turn out to be anything. Go the Unicorn and Will Dawson, the key defender. It'll be interesting to see what they go with this third pick.
Do they look for some more run now? That's what I'm interested in. So, you know, you've got your mids and that. Is it a running defender type of player? Someone, you know, of a Luke McDonald type ilk that gives them a little pace. We've got DeMarty is still on the board, Hardiman's still on the board. And, you know, and then it could potentially be another bid in terms of Will Graham as well from the Gold Coast Suns. He's got to be around this mark too.
Yeah, it's a good shout. They've got plenty of options right here in North Melbourne where they want to go. Is it even a Lance Collard? Do they try and find a lively small forward to see if they can hit the scoreboard in that facet? So they've got plenty of options here and they'll take their time to work out what they want to do to add to this list. And I think it's really developing really nicely. Clarko, as we've touched on, has got plenty to work with now. He's got time. They can get some stability at that football club and really develop this young core group together and hopefully have some success in the not too distant future, because we know it's been a tough little period for them, but it feels like they're coming out the other side. And it's been good to see some of the North Melbourne leaders there tonight. We've seen Jai Simpkin and a few others, so it's really good.
And you've got Will Thursfield, you've got Brady Rawlings, we can see Scott Clayton in there, plenty of experience around their scouting team, their list management team as well.
And that we did hear early in the program too that there might have been a DJ down at Marvel Stadium. He hasn't just snuck upstairs into the North Melbourne box there, has he? We've got a little bit of red foo about him in the corner.
So we've got some top talent there on our remaining players according to our Fox Lab rank, and consecutive picks does make it interesting, doesn't it, Joey, when you've got one team where they've got picks back to back where they can have a bit of a play around with things.
Well, they can, and whether they're even potentially just considering offers, maybe some other clubs have seen that board, that there's some names there, and maybe North Melbourne are pretty comfortable with where they're at the moment and might push back later on and see. But obviously it looks as if they have gone with the pick, and it'll be interesting to see who they've chosen.
Sort of getting towards the back end now.
With pick 23, North Melbourne select Riley Hardiman from Swan Districts and the Caversham Suns Junior Football Club.
So Riley Hardiman, a player with great footy IQ. Mick, this is a great selection, the captain of WA, and he could have gone a lot higher, so they've got great value here.
Yeah, good of Sarah, and a fantastic selection. Mention about Anita, he is that Luke McDonald type, Joey, that counter-attacks off half-back. I love his ball use centre forward. It's really, really important, guys, that can use the footy and hit targets inside forward 50. He's an outstanding young man too, as we go into the family home and they erupt over there in WA. Look, there was genuine interest from the Kangas, and I'm really pleased to see him make this selection, because this to me just complements some of their youth and their guys that have got the ability to really cover the ground and break lines. Had the one game of league footy for Swan Districts against East Perth early in the year, and then plied his trade back at Colts level. And just look at his scout profile there, some really, really positive and numbers there. And at 184 centimetres, he's got a beautiful running vertical jump too. So he'll be able to play on guys that are a little bit taller, and he's got the speed to play on the smalls.
There's no doubt you've nailed it there, Mick. His weapon, for me, is his overhead marking. He can do some special things as a medium-sized defender, but his left foot kicking is precise. He's a bit like a Hayden Young from Freo, likening him to him. AFL written all over him in my book.
Saw Bailey Dale, the comparison. I think more like an Ed Richards too, that left footer that runs and carries, can intercept mark for his height. I think that's a really nice complementary piece for North Melbourne.
Riley joins us now via Zoom. Riley, we absolutely loved watching the moment when you found out you were headed to the North Melbourne Football Club. A huge emotion. What's today been like? I imagine really nerve-wracking waiting for your name to be called out.
Absolutely. Today's just all been about just trying to find as much stuff to do as I can to fill in the time, because, gee, it's been a very, very long past couple of days, and, gee, I'm just so glad it's over.
What have you done to fill in the time?
Well, with the big fella here, Evan, I went down to the park, had a kick with him, visited Jack at work, and got a haircut. It's no good now because it's just been ruffled, but there we go.
Not a problem that Dad Andy's got Riley having to go and get a haircut, but mate, in terms of the family, obviously I know you guys quite well, and Mum being the starting pitcher in the softball team, and Dad's still thinking that he's got what it takes to run around and play a bit of football, mate. Who's you're sort of sitting in the middle of them there. Who's got the better sporting prowess, Mum or Dad?
Oh, don't make me pick this. It's definitely going to have to be Mum. I mean, she did Olympic powerlifting. She's done softball, swimming. I mean, Dad said he could kick a footy, but I tell you what, I'm going to have to go with Mum on this one, Mickey.
Hey, now, Riley, I got a little bit of mail that your mum might have gone out and bought a new couch for tonight because she thought the lounge room was going to be on TV. Is that true, or is that just a bit of a rumour?
No, you're dead on there. She wants to make sure that everything's perfect for the occasion. No bellies will be left empty tonight. The Italian nurse, she wants to make sure that everyone's happy. And, boy, she's showed up tonight, hasn't she?
She's done really well, Riley. Now, would you do me a favour, mate? Please, your old man deserves to go and have a beer, doesn't he? And I know the reins were kept tight and back in WA, but surely he's got to head to the fridge soon and be able to celebrate.
Yeah, he may be. Yeah,
I'm on my way, Nick. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I've been limiting him a bit there. So, now he's free to roam. He was very, very obedient.
Talk to us about what's going to happen in the next couple of days. How excited are you to join the football club?
Oh, yeah, I'm over the moon to work under the likes of Clarko and such a young, up-and-coming developing list. I'm really excited to be sort of part of that journey, and I'm just keen to get to the club and develop those relationships and just, really get to work.
Well, we are so happy for you, your mum, your dad, the entire family. Well done on tonight, and we look forward to seeing you in action in the AFL soon.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Well done. A great reason to go out and buy a new couch, I think.
Yeah,
it's going to be on national television. Well done, Riley. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Brilliant stuff. A great character by the looks of things.
Yeah, look, he, in all seriousness, he comes from great stock. The Hardiman family, Andrea and Andy, are some of the best people you'll meet. Andy's a superintendent with a construction company, Melcor, that I'm with, and he's just a brilliant leader of men and women that work across the industry, and you can see why Riley's such a great young man. And just on a side note, there may be another couple of Hardimans to come in the future.
Oh, we'll keep our eye on that. We've got a bid pending here, Joey. What's happening as Collingwood, the reigning premiers, enter the draft night?
Yeah, that's the Sydney Swans Academy player, Caden Cleary. Shifty, you know more about him, but the tough sort of inside mid half forward that's the Sydney Swans are going to probably, you would think, bid on, but the Pies have made the selection.
Well, I've marked down ball magnet, which is a great thing to have next to your name because the game's about winning the footy in contested situations. He won his way into the midfield, the starting midfield for the Allies, averaged 29 in the National Championships, become a star. Mark McVeigh was great for him. He's the coach of the Swans Academy. Mark, of course, and gave him that opportunity. So he's got a great hard edge. I love the kids that just burrow in. They just see the ball and they got the X-ray eyes, I call it, where they're not worried about the arms and legs there. They're straight in at it. He wins it. He become a very good distributor as well in setting the play up for the players around him. And, well, not surprised to see him get a bid now. It'll test the Swans.
He's the prototype of the Sydney Swans. He's a super fit specimen, and geez, does he bring the heat defensively? His pressure on the opposition's outstanding, and you know, on an offensive side of the ball, he's a type of player that generally plays that A2 type role. So he'll set up just off the contest, gets into a position to receive, and then he absolutely goes forward with genuine intent. Played 6 games in the VFL this year and averaged 18 disposals. So that speaks volumes to his ability from a maturity perspective to be able to step in and play senior football early if he's needed.
Joey, comparisons to Taylor Adams and Lachie Neale, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of got that Bloods culture about him, the way that he plays. He's got Luke Parker and Taylor Adams there at the Sydney Swans already, so he might just be behind those guys temporarily, but he'll work his way and hopefully become a really bona fide midfielder for the Sydney Swans, and they continue to develop what they've already got in there.
Looks up to former Sydney Swans champion Josh Kennedy, so great role models and great inspirations, Shifter.
Another stat I like about him is his average tackle, 6.8.
Yep.
Always look at that column. It's all right to win the contested ball and be in there, but gee, do you put pressure on the opposition? So he's a two-way runner. He showed that, and he's been with the Swans Academy since since the under-10s, so he's been there for 8 years already, and done a wonderful job in getting kids into the game for a start with their initial program, just to get the families attached to the game. And for those that are talented enough, they can do a great program. They've had in recent years the likes of Ty Kennelly and Mark McVeigh coaching. Mickey O'Loughlin back in the past also coached the academy. So have really devoted so much of their time and effort and their expertise into getting kids connected to the game.
Yeah, you mentioned Shifter Mickey O'Loughlin. He still continues to have a huge impact on football in Sydney.
With pick 24, the Sydney Swans select Caden Cleary from the Sydney Swans Academy and the Sydney University Australian Football Club.
So there we have it, Shifter, that's matched.
They had to match them.
Yeah.
They couldn't overlook that one. One of their boys that have come through and continue to improve. I love that part about it, that the growth is still there and the way he's going.
And no wonder the Allies had such a strong championship, Shifter. Another one of the midfielders that just continued to rack up the footy. And really, when you look at McKercher and Sanders and now Cleary, no wonder they were so dominant.
Yeah, the other thing is too, Joey, when you look at this type of player and stuff from that Allies program and the academies of the northern markets and those sort of things which we speak about. Originally there was scheduled to be 19 selections with the compensation pick of Ben Mackay to the Kangaroos. We're now out looking at 27, 28 picks, which is great for the game. And people have got to understand this through father-son bids, which we've seen a couple of them in Croft and McCabe. Outside of that, this is what the academies are producing. They're producing talent for the game of AFL, which, you know, we've got to continue to celebrate.
Big opening night, isn't it? A big first round. What's your guess? What are we going to get to tonight? 29?
29 then?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what type of player Collingwood go for. We know how well they did in the the trade period with Lockie Schultz. Do they look to stock up in the key defensive areas? We're not sure about where Nathan Murphy's at with his concussions. Jeremy Howe getting on a bit. So there's names like Will Graham, Ollie Murphy, Ari Shonmaker's still there as well. So it's interesting to see where Collingwood are thinking they want to try and add to their list as we take a look at the remaining players. They have been linked to Lance Collard as well, the lively small forward from WA. So that's potentially an option.
Yeah, it is. And another name on the board when you mention those guys too is Archer Reid, Joey.
Yep.
He's another one that, Ken, when you talk height, another 200 centimetre player that's predominantly we've seen him play forward, so the brother of Zach at Essendon. But, yeah, it's going to be, you know, it's a real privilege for the Collingwood Footy Club, isn't it, to be able to be in a position where they don't necessarily have to address shift or a specific need. They'll just go for the best player on the board and the one that suits their footy club and their plans going forward.
So each club comes into tonight with a draft order and works through it. Is that correct, Shifter?
Yeah, and they'll all have it slightly differently. They might have the same groupings to a degree, but there'll be variations along the way from what one club thinks to the next. There's no doubt about that in the world. I'm just having a quick count up there. The Allies have got 9.
Wow.
9 players from the Allies already taken. We think that there could still be another one to come. Look, testament to Mark Browning and to Darren Denham and the guys that have been talent managers in the state of, in Browning's case of Queensland, for a long, long time, Darren Denham and New South Wales ACT, that set the Allies up. It was their concept to let the best play against the best. The best boys from, it used to be called the second division, and there was a bit of a stigma about that being in the second. We want to play against the big boys, the Victorians, the SA, the WAs, etc. And not only did they play against them, they belted them, to be quite honest. They're unbeaten in their 4 games, and they knew that for the team, and Mark McVeigh projected that through the group right throughout their campaign. It would be great for the team. The results will be there if you perform as a group. So overcome the fact they couldn't train together, they got together and had a light run or a walk near the day before a match, and were able to then come together after just 2 camps and gel as a group and perform at a high level, and they're getting the reward on draft night.
Extraordinary, so much talent. It will be interesting with the Tasmanian players we've seen go really high today. In a few years, when the Tasmanian team comes into the AFL, it'll be a big story whether these players are going to head home or not.
And some of these Tasmanians are going to be stars in 3 or 4 years, so the club's going to have to just be sort of manage how they want to go about their strategy with contracting and those sorts of things, and no doubt the AFL will try and assist the Tassie team with being able to lure local talent home, but just the clubs that have taken the Tasmanian players, no doubt, will be well and truly compensated.
So the Premier's Collingwood pick number 25 looks like it's in. We'll wait to see exactly what they're doing. As you say, the luxury of having a brilliant list is they can just wait and pick who the most talented player is.
With pick 25, Collingwood select Harry Di Mattia from the Dandenong Stingrays and the Edithvale Aspendale Junior Football Club.
And some Collingwood jumpers there too, so that's handy. Plenty of black and white in the household. Co-captain of Victoria Country at the Under-18 Championships. Getting a great player and a great character shifter.
It is, and co-captain with Harley Reid, he was, young Harry, a dual sports athlete. He's the boy that was the Australian underage cricketer that had to make the choice. In fact, it was on Boxing Day, he ran the water for the Australian team, and they were trying to win him over. Dean Elgar said, get out of here. He gave him a bit of advice. Well, he's got into the AFL. Fantastic for him. He had a great year. He's a speed machine. He'll play as that high half forward. He could play half back or wing, lefty. Breakaway speed and competitiveness are some of his assets, and he's had a fantastic year.
All right, let's go and meet Harry now. We can head to him, the newest Collingwood football player. And you're wearing a Collingwood jumper already. Did you have an inkling this was going to happen, or have you got Pies jumpers lying around the house?
There's a couple of Pie supporters here, so they just gave me theirs.
So it's not officially issued by the club, you've just got them at home? Harry, we were just talking, I'm hoping you can hear us. We were just talking about when you ran water on Boxing Day for the Australian cricket team. That would have been a huge thrill. How does this compare?
Oh, it's amazing. I feel like I'm in a dream again. So grateful for the opportunity to be joining such a prestigious club like Collingwood and all the great mentors around me that will be at the club. I can't wait to get stuck into it.
Yeah, Harry, congratulations, mate. An outstanding result for you and the family. I'm sure there's more than a couple of Pies supporters in the room now. There might be a few more jumpers floating around. But, mate, your coach, Nick Cox, who's been involved in talent for a long time and done an outstanding job. The Dandenong Stingrays have got a very, very long and distinguished history of draftable players and extraordinary AFL talent. What's some of the best advice that Nick's given you across the course of the last couple of years?
Yeah, Coxie's been great for me. He's been really understanding with both footy and cricket, and he's just told me to enjoy the journey, take every opportunity that comes, and more importantly, have fun and help develop the people around me was a really big one this year and something I've focused on, which really helped with the group and helped. We got a couple of the boys that were bottom ages into top ages this year in the room, and they're pretty special and it means a lot to me.
Yeah, Harry, congratulations. Was there any moment when that decision between the footy and the cricket come?
When I got appointed captain of Dandenong, that took my full attention, trying to get around the group as much as possible, learn how I could best captain and lead the organisation and help develop everyone around the organisation. So that naturally took over from my cricket.
And Harry, for all the Pie supporters that are watching right now, just give us a bit of an insight into what you're going to bring to the footy club going forward.
I'm going to be a very good person around the club that's going to really buy into the values and direction that we want to go and hopefully be part of back-to-back.
The Pies fans in the room and right around Australia love the sound of that. Harry, we wish you the absolute best and can't wait to see you down here in Melbourne playing for the Collingwood Football Club.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well done.
Mate.
I think the Pies have found a new cult hero.
Absolutely, yeah. Look at his friends. They're going to have a good night now. It's an absolute thrill, not only for the players, but for all the friends and family that have grown up, watched their journey, watched the boys' journeys, and now they get the chance to live their boyhood dream. And I think
he knows he's got a good one.
And I think the family's going to be pretty pleased to be handing over their boy to Craig McRae and the Collingwood Football Club as well.
What a thrill to be going to the reigning premiers and the biggest club in town, knowing that you're going to play on Anzac Day and King's birthday and all the big blockbusters. I mean, what a dream.
Yeah, it is, Sarah, and it's no surprise when we talk about people in football clubs and what make football clubs. You look in that room there, Graham Wright, Derek Hine, Adam Shepherd. These are some fantastic people that have been in the game for a long time. Craig McRae comes in. Craig McRae and Luke Power are the best two development coaches I've seen in my time in football, and from all reports, Craig's just got a beautiful nature, a beautiful teaching aspect to the way he coaches, and it's no surprise the Collingwood Footy Club are set up for sustained success.
He's a well-rounded footballer. Collingwood are getting a beauty, as Shifter touched on. He's tough and competitive. He can defend as a half-back. He's got the penetration and the running ability and can kick the footy. So he's well-rounded, and I think he'll certainly add to the group.
It's a great. I love that cricket story. The running the drinks on the Boxing Day test to playing for the Collingwood Football Club. That's ticking a lot of boxes in
he's done a fair bit.
Boyhood dreams,
18 years
isn't
of age.
it?
Yeah.
Wow. So we've got the Adelaide Crows with pick number 26. We are nearing the conclusion of round one. It has been an epic round, as you say, with the academy bids and the father-son bids being matched. It does stretch it out a little bit. That means tomorrow we'll be able to take stock overnight. We'll be back here tomorrow to be able to go through it all as we pick up with the second round, but it is the Crows at the moment with pick number 26.
It's great, Sarah. I haven't seen a first round bat this deep for a very long time, and like I said, I just sit back and admire this. But there's the bid. The bid's in, and Will Graham, the fourth of the Gold Coast Suns Academy shifter.
Wow. And look, if he hadn't decided his draft position, he did at the Combine when he became about the second or third quickest bloke there after having a wonderful year with the Gold Coast Suns Academy and with the Allies. Of course, he becomes the 10th player. Amazing. 10th before we get to 30. He actually adapted from being a midfielder, playing in the centre or on the wing, to playing half-back for the Allies, and showed he could play there. He started, he broke the lines across half-back, used the ball so well. Lovely size player too at 186. gives him the range to play in a lot of spots, and he really cemented his spot with that performance this year.
And the third from Palm Beach Currumbin Football Club. It will be going off with Jonathan Brown and the team up there.
With pick 26, the Gold Coast Suns select Will Graham from the Gold Coast Suns Academy and the Palm Beach Currumbin Football Club.
Presenting the jumper for the Gold Coast is Damien Hardwick.
It's just a quick one, a bit of a side note too on Will Graham. He sustained a knee injury and missed a lot of football, and from all reports there was a lot of people behind the scenes don't get credit. There was a strength and conditioning coach by the name of Josh Whitty at the Gold Coast Suns that spent a lot of his own time outside of club hours, putting in hours and hours of work with this young man to get him up to speed, to get him back on track. And when I watched his vision, I actually thought he was every bit as good as the three former players that we heard about. He might even get up there and rank shifter as, within the top couple of those boys over the course of his journey in AFL football.
Well, he's going to become an important piece for the Gold Coast Suns. I think he's a point of difference with that power and size and strength to be able to break tackles and stick tackles and defend across half-back. They don't really have that type, the Gold Coast Suns. They've got Will Powell and a few others. We know they've got Charlie Ballard and Sam Collins. Mac Andrews, a different type of player as well. So I think it complements their back six. We know they've addressed the front half with Rogers and Walter, and now they get a really good player that can defend and rebound as well from half-back.
And really a surprise here because he was down as a guest of the other boys too. Wanted to be with his mates. Thinking it might happen tomorrow night, but then all of a sudden there was a chance for tonight, but it wasn't one that we actually predicted. If you talk about 2 or 3 weeks ago, not at all. This is him in action, of course, with the Allies. It was the run from defence that he took to that role naturally. Looked like he'd been there all his life, but he hadn't played there at all. So it was fantastic to see the way he adapted.
Great results in the draft combine as well. So as we spoke about earlier, the recruiters using every means possible to form a complete picture, from the interviews to the combine to poring over vision to all the different things. And for Will, it means that he gets to go to the Gold Coast Suns as part of their academy, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it was for mine when I watched his vision, I thought he just had elite awareness of where the oppo were shifter. He just had that peripheral vision and his lateral movement and ability to step and avoid any opposition, attempts to tackle and put pressure on. So that really impressed me, and just his power and class when he was on the move.
So pick 27, we're moving further and further out with all of these extra bids, but we have Adelaide, St Kilda and Carlton to complete round one of this draft.
Of course, Adelaide were able to get Dan Curtin when they moved up in the draft earlier, so they got their key defender, and then the big midfielder, Charlie Edwards, who can develop into a player that can, join in what they've already got through the midfield at the Adelaide Crows. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. They obviously bid for Will Graham, a defender. Do they continue to stock up defensively? As we see Matty Nix having a chat to the boys right now, so he'd be pretty pleased. There's still some good talent on the board as well. I think Adelaide are a team that have been building really nicely. There's Jordan Dawson, who's come along as well. So,
isn't it great to see the senior players getting amongst the draftees and welcoming him to the club? We've seen a few of the North Melbourne boys there as well. It's fantastic.
Well, they get as invested as a lot of supporters. They're keen to add to their group as well. Jordan Dawson's desperate to play finals and win flags, as are a lot of the other boys. So many of them do take an interest, and some of them even get involved and want to try and maybe head down that path post-footy. We're seeing some sort of former AFL players go into the recruiting and list management space, so some of them have an interest in that field as well.
So just waiting on news from the Adelaide Crows. Pick number 27 in the draft is in. We wait to see which of the talented players left on the board they're going to add to their football club.
With pick 27, the Adelaide Crows select Oscar Ryan from the Murray Bush Rangers.
Nick, this is another bolter.
Yeah, it is. Again, this is the fascination with the draft, isn't it? You can't pick them. And look, fantastic result for Oscar Ryan, a young man out of the Murray Bushrangers, as we heard. He's your genuine counter-attacking, rebounding defender. And what impressed me, Joey, with this young man, he tested 3 seconds in the 20-metre sprint, but it was his 0 to 5 time. 1.04 seconds over that first 5 metres. That's quick, and that allows him to really create separation from any of his opposition that are looking to run him down.
Yeah, had a great year too. He was runner-up to Darcy Wilson in their Best and Fairest award. It's a young boy that performed, played some very good footy across half-back for Vic Country as well. A bit like a Will Graham, provides that dash. You describe Will Graham perfectly as that lovely sized half-back now with the speed and the ability to get past opponents. He's got all of that. He averaged 22 disposals, 4 tackles, 5 marks in the way he played this year, so obviously part of their crew.
He wasn't even ready, Joey. He needed a wardrobe change.
He wouldn't have been invited. He's obviously come along as a guest of someone else as well. So extending the family and friends has actually made it easier.
Yes, it's really helped things.
Bring along a couple of teammates that are a chance to get drafted. So this is a great moment. I'm sure a bit of a surprise. That's why Matty Nix went out there, just to let him know before it got announced that, hey, we're just going to get you up on stage here. You're just going to be putting on Adelaide Crows jumper.
And he would have been told, look, it probably won't happen tonight. Come for the ride, come for the can of Coke or whatever it might have been in the sandwich, but enjoy the performance of your mates. It'll probably happen for you tomorrow night, but it's come a wee bit quicker. Good on him.
He won't sleep tonight.
Yeah, what a beautiful moment, though, isn't it? I know you've touched on it a couple of times, Sarah, but for that young man to be sitting in the room, he had the shirt on, the T-shirt underneath, cheering on everybody else, and then to be given a tap on the shoulder by the Adelaide Crows coach and having to do a uniform change in the middle of the draft is a first for mine, and just what a great memory and piece of history to look back on in time.
What a brilliant surprise. Whirlwind, I'm sure. His emotions must be absolutely bubbling over. We've got St Kilda up next, pick 28. So just St Kilda and Carlton to come to round out round number 1. We're going to head now to Ben Dixon, who's got Oscar with him. Dicko, that was quite a surprise. How's he doing?
I'll tell you how big a surprise it was. He didn't even have his shirt, so he stole this off someone else. Oscar, you're in a bit of shock, aren't you? Just talking to Matty Nix then?
Yeah, it's just a massive shock to me, and I'm so grateful for the club for putting the trust into me. And yeah.
Well, Shifter and Mickey Ablett give you the rap and tell you how to play, but tell us about your year. If you're the big bolter in the draft, you didn't expect to go this early.
Just didn't make the country last year and just worked my ass off all last pre-season, and it's finally worked out, so I'm so grateful. Yeah.
I think the biggest cheers have come from the Bushrangers over the back here. You got a fair crew here.
Yeah, we've got a fair few boys here. I think 4 of us got picked up tonight, so it's just great, and great to spend with these boys too. So
Well, pack your bags, mate. You're off to Adelaide.
Yeah, bloody oath. Can't wait.
Good on you, Oscar.
Thank you.
I don't think he thought he was going to be getting interviewed tonight.
He wasn't prepared, but that's
practicing.
It's better when they're less prepared.
Yeah, we love it.
Raw emotion, wasn't there? It was great.
Authentic stuff. We've got St Kilda up next, pick number 28. The pick's in, Joey. What are they looking for here, you think?
Well, I think they're looking for some talent in the front half. They lost Jade Gresham. I think they want to address their ability to hit the scoreboard and see if they get someone with some speed and can hit the scoreboard inside 50.
With pick 28, St Kilda select Lance Collard from Subiaco and the North Beach Junior Football Club.
Real bolter post the draft combine and one of the most exciting prospects we've got in the draft this year.
Yeah, I think he was the unicorn of the draft. Nobody quite knew where he was going to fit because he's a West Coast Eagles NGA player, so they don't get the ability to match that because it falls inside the first 40. But at his best, he is scintillating, as you can see on the highlights here. He sets him alight. He tested first in the agility, 4th in the 20-metre sprint, averaged 3 goals a game across 11 Colts games, and look, he just didn't quite put that level of consistency together, and I think that's where the question mark came on Lance Collard. But a second player out of the Subiaco Footy Club, and to Colts coach John Mansbridge, who did an outstanding job with him throughout the course of the year and educating Lance. It just goes to show that the time and effort that you do put into these young men does reap rewards.
And just those last 5 games of the year, he kicked 3 bags of 5. So it really blossomed for him right at the end. He'd played national championships. They'd heard of the way he moved about, but he was well contained in those. But drew confidence from that, I suppose, of playing against the best, that I can match it with some of those kids, and then really had those breakout games, finished off with a brilliant combine. So that's why he's always going to get drafted, but a surprise that he's come tonight.
Yeah, got great speed, got great X factor. Probably surprised how well he ran in the 2K, so I think that appealed to St Kilda, and he's just a natural goal kicker, knows how to find the goals, he's got some craft. Similarities to someone like a Bobby Hill, who just won a Norm Smith medal. He's got that speed and ability, so that's an exciting pickup for St Kilda.
The final pick of the night of round 1 in this national draft is Carlton, and it's out to pick 29. So all of those academy picks has pushed it out a bit, and we'll pick things up tomorrow. Of course, here on Fox Footy, 7 p.m, we'll be able to take it from round 2 to the conclusion of this draft. So for the poor players that don't get picked up tonight but are still hopeful, there's plenty more opportunities to land on an AFL list. And, well, the Blues had a remarkable season, Joey, and their list is pretty accomplished as it is. What do you think Michael Voss and his team are searching for here?
Yeah, they are in pretty good shape, Carlton, with their list profile at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see where they go. They might just take the best available player that's still on the board according to their order.
The picks in, I see Nick Agresta there, Nick Austin. They're the 2 people in charge, the recruiting manager, the list manager.
With pick 29, Carlton select Ashton Moyer from Glenelg and the Plimpton Football Club.
So this is a player that was really highly rated at one point along the line, has had a few injuries along the way, shifted, but a freakish talent.
Yeah, and that's the story. Not everyone dominates in their draft year. The clubs will go back to what they showed in their 17th year. And this boy, he's got every trick in the book. His kicking is super elite, right and left. I don't think I've ever seen a player that can, well, from a set shot 45 metres out, have one with his right, then his next with his left. Quite amazing. Had a hip injury that affected him during the year. But see, as a lead-up forward, he's got all the talent to come out of the goal square and really be that 188-centimetre guy that converts very, very well for you.
A beautiful mark, kicks on both feet. Didn't quite deliver as a forward this year. It's probably fair to say, to the expectations that he was coming into the year with. Don't be surprised if Carlton potentially turn him into an elite interceptor across half-back. Someone who doesn't quite, fulfil the talent in the front half. We've seen a lot of plays. Jeremy Howe's an example who could go behind the ball and be someone that's got huge upside for Carlton. I really like the selection.
Yeah, Joey, look, I'd like to reiterate that sentiment. I thought his best footy when I watched during the year was higher up the ground. We saw him deep in the championships. He just couldn't quite find his form and get in touch with the game. But when he gets up the ground and could potentially be across half-back, as you mentioned, he's a class user. His lateral movement, his step, his ability to avoid and opposition players and deliver by foot is as good as anyone in this draft. So it's a really good point you make, and be interesting to see how the Blues use him going forward.
It has been an awesome first round of this draft, and it continues again tomorrow. We're going to take a quick break. It has been quite the marathon here, and we hope you're enjoying it home on Fox Footy. Here's some of the reactions of the top players picked in this year's draft. Smiles and hugs all around. An incredible night for Harley Reid, the boy from Tongala, going pick number 1 to the West Coast Eagles in the national draft. He was highly touted for a long time to be the best player in the draft pool, and receiving the famous number 9 from the great Nick Natanui. What a night for him, and really it kick-started what has been a really fascinating round 1 of the draft, Mick.
Yeah, it has, and that's what I love about this, and that's why I get so excited every year, is you just don't know what to expect, and we hear so many comments around the draft of, it's set and it's this and it's shallow and whatever, but gee whiz, when you get to these moments and you see the elite talent and the guys that are still on the board for tomorrow night, it's remarkable, and what you're seeing right there on the screen are genuine future stars of the competition.
I love the fact, Sarah, that there were multiple players taken from all states of Australia. That's the first time ever you'd have more than one, so 2 players or more. So we got 3 from Tassie, 3 from New South, 4 from Queensland, obviously quite a number from WA, a couple from SA and Victoria. So a wonderful night, I think, for the growth of the game as the national code, the game of choice for kids right around Australia.
And it was fascinating tonight to see clubs just move up 1 spot or 2 spots in the draft and
prepare
to give away a second or third rounder next year just to make sure they got the player they were after. So I thought it was really good. I think Geelong did really well. I loved the Connor O'Sullivan selection. I think he can form a long-term partnership with Sam de Koning down there. And the Giants, sometimes they always throw in a little bit of a left field selection. They've done that in the past. And again, Phoenix Gothard all the way up at 12. I think he's going to be a beauty. High talent in the forward half for them.
Are players getting taller? It feels
Yeah,
like
they
we
are.
saw so many over 200 centimetres and ones that can run like Usain Bolt.
Yeah, Shifter, isn't that funny? Like, we've spoke for a number of years about the lack of players that are 200 centimetres and above, and that's why we went to America and looked for Mason Cox and the like, and now they seem to be just falling out of trees here in Australia.
And then we get Jakey Rogers and Nick Watson at 170 centimetres taken.
And that's why it is the best game in the world.
Beauty of our game.
7 o'clock tomorrow night, we will go through it all again. Mick and Shifter will be here as we go from round 2 to the conclusion of the AFL draft. Thanks so much for your company, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All the talk of the 2023 AFL draft